But this week, Sweden. It took a while, but this week, Sweden got the green light on its bid to join NATO. Following Finland's accession last year, NATO is now firmly anchored in the high north. Will that strengthen the alliance or risk provoking Finland's neighbor Russia? Meanwhile, new trouble is brewing in southeastern Europe as the breakaway Republic of Transnistria, just south of Ukraine, asks Russia for protection. As the challenges multiply, NATO members send diverging signals in the direction of Moscow, with France's president sparking pushback by refusing to rule out sending ground troops to Ukraine. Our topic this week, Sweden and Finland in NATO, a strategic defeat for Russia? Hello and welcome to The Point. It's great to have you with us. Our guests this week, Alexandra van Namen heads DW's Brussels bureau, covers NATO and security policy, and has also reported from Russia. And it's a pleasure to welcome Daniel Hegedus. He is a senior fellow at the German Marshall Fund with a focus on Central Europe. And Colonel Wolfgang Richter joins us virtually from Vienna. He's a senior advisor at the Austrian Institute for Europe and Security Policy. So let me begin, if I may, with you, Alexandra. Two formerly neutral nations join the Western Alliance. How momentous is this shift? Does it significantly strengthen NATO?
The answer is yes, definitely. Having Finland and Sweden join NATO is a big win for the alliance. When we talk about Sweden, they have a very highly capable armed forces. Their geographic situation improve NATO's posture in the Baltic Sea. And of course, in addition, we have to say that Sweden has already been integrated to some extent into NATO structures. They have been invited to meetings, they have participated in exercises, and now that they are able to join the alliance is also showing the Kremlin that only Finland wanting to be in the club was not an isolated incident. So this is a reaction to Russia's aggression against Ukraine.
Daniel, when Finland and Sweden first applied to join, some analysts said that their membership would turn the Baltic Sea into a NATO lake. Would you agree with that? And what do you see as the geopolitical implications of the expansion?
Yeah, the geopolitical implication is that NATO's northern flank is significantly strengthened, and especially the organization's ability to reinforce its positions within the Baltic countries, which traditionally used to be the most exposed forepost of the organization since they joined NATO. I think the positions are significantly strengthened, significantly reinforced, and against that background, the posture against Russia to undertake any thought experiments to challenge NATO positions in the region, the message is that it can be potentially a very bad idea.
So Baltic Sea, NATO lake?
Baltic Sea, NATO lake. So definitely in wartime, the operational capability of the Russian Baltic fleet to conduct maneuvers will be significantly limited.
Wolfgang, at the same time, we have the U.S. equivocating about further support for Ukraine, and presumed Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump casting doubt on whether the U.S. would even defend all of its fellow NATO allies. Under those circumstances, doesn't that dilute the effects of this expansion by undermining trust in the notion of collective defense as a whole?
Yes, Melinda, I think your question is quite correct. One should not forget that Sweden and Finland joined NATO. Also, they could also have embarked on or relied on the EU defense commitments, which are enshrined in the EU treaty. But the big difference between the EU and NATO is the US. The US provides a nuclear umbrella, or at least nuclear guarantees, which is important for Finland and Sweden and all others, of course, since Russia is the second or one of the two big nuclear countries on the globe. And this comes as a contradiction. On the one side, they rely now on NATO with US guarantees. On the other side, the US, at least Trump, has cast doubt whether these guarantees will really be complied with. And this makes clear why NATO is now in a difficult position. In addition to the question why the US Congress cannot deliver weapons and financial means to Ukraine, which is also foreshadowing probably the elections in November in the US.
Thanks very much. And we will come back to the stability of NATO and also the nuclear issues in a moment. But first, I'd like to take a closer look at what the accession of Finland and Sweden, NATO's 31st and 32nd members, means for the alliance and the region.
They're strengthening NATO. 20,000 Swedish servicemen and women are now a part of it too. The country is giving up a long tradition for more security in the NATO alliance. Sweden is leaving 200 years of neutrality and military non-alignment behind. This is a big step. The Swedish military is considered efficient and its navy is equipped with state-of-the-art equipment. The country has also reintroduced compulsory military service and could quickly mobilize soldiers in the event of war. Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine changed everything for Finland and Sweden. Both countries had already applied to join NATO in May 2022, a quick process for Finland. But in the case of Sweden, Turkey and Hungary had reservations. New arms deals for both countries were a factor in getting them to agree. Which means NATO is moving closer to Russia. After expanding east, it is now also expanding north. Finland has been a member since 2023, and now Sweden is joining as the 32nd member state. But how strong is the new NATO really?
Alexander, you mentioned briefly in your first remarks what Sweden brings to the alliance. Say a little more about that, if you would, please, how much these two countries add to NATO's defensive capability, but also where you think the challenges might lie in integrating them and really ensuring a cohesive whole.
Well, I think what was a big problem was not to have Sweden in the alliance right now, because we know that NATO is overhauling their defense plans, and Sweden has been an important country in that. So it was hurting the alliance not to have Sweden as a member, and it's going to help to implement those new defense plans, knowing that Sweden is now in the alliance. And as I mentioned, they have a highly capable armed forces, unlike some other members of NATO who joined the alliance after the end of the Cold War. And they will improve the situation in the Baltic Sea. We already talked about that. And the Baltic states can feel much safer now because Sweden can help to make sure that they can be, there can be sea reinforcement. So if needed, if there is anything, if Russia would risk any miscalculation, until now, the Baltic states would need to be provided with weapons and armed forces through a very vulnerable border crossing between Poland and Lithuania. And now the whole situation has changed. So I think there is no real challenge to integrate Sweden, but what is a bit problematic is the whole process, that it took so long, and that we saw that some members of the alliance were apparently not so concerned about the Russian threat.
And exactly that is what I would like to talk to Daniel about. You are from Hungary, and Hungary, in fact, was one of the NATO members that held this up for so very long. In fact, it is sometimes said that Hungary and Turkey were both doing Putin's bidding by delaying, especially the Swedish accession, for so long. What kind of signal does that send about alliance unity or disunity?
Yes, I think it sent a main signal, and it was widely used and exploited also by the Russian propaganda and the Kremlin's media, that there is disunity about Sweden, especially Sweden's accession to NATO. Whether that argument was used to spread also division among Western allies, I'm not so certain, but the main area where this argument could be very well used, that's Russian domestic propaganda. So it was important for the Kremlin, for domestic political reason, that this happened. And while in the case of Turkey, I think we can be more or less certain that the power calculations was based really on the regime interest. In the case of Hungary, it's obvious that it was partially a strategic service to Russia. The country has a multivectoral foreign policy. It tries to have close, cordial ties to strategic contenders of its own Western alliance system, Russia and China. And this was part of this power calculation, why Prime Minister Orban delayed this ratification 21 months long.
In the end, his agreement was essentially purchased through a quid pro quo. What exactly do Mr. Orban and also Mr. Erdogan get out of all of this?
I think the two cases are absolutely different. For Turkey, it was really a crucial defense deal, which allowed practically the upgrading of the existing F-16 fleet to the newest level, which was important because the country's access to the fifth generation F-35 fighters was rejected by both the US administration and the US Congress. In the case of Hungary, no similar defense deal took place. So practically what we saw, the purchasing of 4 old generation Gripen fighters and the extension of the service package with 2 years is a face-saving measure that Prime Minister Orban can also claim in the public that there was something in exchange for the Hungarian ratification. In reality, simply the pressure was too high and the Hungarian position was not sustainable anymore.
But if I may, just one sentence. But it's also showing us that for those members, domestic politics were more important than making sure that the alliance is being strengthened in the process. And this is very telling. It already did damage to NATO, I would say.
And in many ways, that's the exact thing that you could say about the US as well. It's very much about domestic politics. Wolfgang, if I can come to you to talk about another dispute among NATO's leading members at the moment, that has also stirred up doubts about the solidity of the Western alliance. When French President Macron said that he could not rule out sending ground troops to Ukraine, basically Chancellor Scholz pushed back immediately and contradicted him in a very public rebuke. What do you think that means, and how damaging is it for NATO?
Let me say first that there was a red line for a long time agreed within NATO that NATO member states would not become parties to the conflict, directly intervene. That means it was a red line to propose sending ground troops to Ukraine to fight directly Russia, because that could lead to an expansion or escalation of the war, and Europe could find itself in a terrible war, because we speak about 4 nuclear powers that would be involved in such kind of thing. So that was astonishing that Macron made this proposal. And what is even more astonishing is that obviously behind closed doors, it was clear already in the preceding meeting that this proposal would not find any support by the majority of EU and NATO states. Nevertheless, Macron went to the microphone afterwards in the public and announced that he could not exclude this option. So this sent, and of course the response by the Chancellor sent the signal of disunity rather than of unity. So insofar, one could even say it didn't serve the purpose. Of course, I understand that France wanted to increase its own role. It was in a defensive position, particularly after the Munich Security Conference. Some people even criticized France not to deliver as much as Germany did and lagged behind, etc. But I mean, as presidents of France see themselves, they have to have a leading role and take back the initiative. And I think that was also one of the reasons why Macron did it, but he did it not very skillfully. So he now finally this group sent the signal of disunity. And regrettably, the other decision that was made, that is using the defense facility means also to buy, for example, ammunition abroad and not just in Europe or in France, that was then not recognized in the public so much. So there was also a signal of unity, but obviously it was not skillfully done.
Daniel, Wolfgang talked about seizing the initiative. Chancellor Scholz has often been accused of doing the opposite, of lagging behind in terms of leadership and of essentially always staying to the back, even though the German public now seems to support a more proactive position vis-a-vis Russia and in regard to support for Ukraine. Do we see here a fundamental weakening of the French-German motor within the alliance due also to German inertia?
I think we see weakening in the German-French tandem now for more than 2 years. And obviously, this can be traced back to the lack of joint vision and obviously in some way the lack of chemistry between the leadership of the two countries. It's the tragedy, actually, of the German strategic thinking and Ukraine policy that the country is performing so high.
In the center
that
again.
it is the second most important weapon delivery partner of Ukraine. Meanwhile, it cannot exploit this situation and turn it into an enhanced leadership position at European level. Obviously, that's also a sign of the weakening German strategic position within the European Union. But I think this didn't start with this announcement of President Macron. We see these cleavages in this European engine.
How's life? What's new? What's new?
Alexandra, meanwhile, let's talk about Putin's reaction to all of this. His chief ideologue had described Russia's goal in general as the Finlandization of Europe. Instead, we get what you might call the Euro-Atlanticization of Scandinavia. Do you think Putin will have reckoned with those consequences? And how would you expect him to respond going forward?
He's doing incredibly well.
Well, I think that
I feel people are just like trying to
the Kremlin and Putin himself, they saw what was coming,
being like really old
after Finland's accession,
he
we
really
also saw kind of them trying to.
Man, he really is doing alright-ish.
There were reports about hybrid attacks. They were threatening to increase the number of troops on the border to Finland. But basically, I mean, this is NATO. I don't think that Putin would risk anything, knowing what kind of response any attempt would be met with. So I don't expect any straightforward reaction, but of course, for sure, we will see maybe, hybrid attacks, a lot of propaganda probably trying to play down the fact that Sweden now also is joining NATO. And what I learned from my time covering Putin is that you should never expect something that is like clear and you would do it, because they always would come up with something that is different and maybe also surprising.
Speaking of something different, let's stay with the topic of the Russian response and direct our attention to southeastern Europe, where a breakaway republic's request for Moscow's protection looked like a playbook for another special Russian military operation.
There has been an obvious increase in Russian soldiers at the borders and in Transnistria.
Do you not want to know about Sweden? Look at this.
They are the symbol of who is in charge
incredible
in
cop.
Putin's Russia.
Incredible, just incredible.
The Dniester River separates the Republic of Moldova from the breakaway region of the Eastern Bank
Oh,
from
nice.
Transnistria.
Oh, nice. Holy shit, congratulations, Ali. That seems like a bunch of good news. Congrats on that, It's amazing. Oh, that sounds incredible. Nice. Happy to hear that. Happy to hear mine's
the country is
going
located at a focal point between
Mine's
the
going
Republic
nowhere.
of Moldova, which is pro-European,
Oh, good.
and Ukraine.
I'm stuck on the workplace. I'm out for like
Now
at
the
least
pro-Russian
a year
rulers
more.
are
I'm
officially asking
basically
Russia
just,
for
I'm
protection from
hibernating.
Moldova.
I'm
An initial
hibernating.
reaction from Moscow shows the protection of the citizens of Transnistria is a priority.
By the way, talking about Shoigu and Gerasimov, what's new with those fuckers?
Domino in Putin's expansion plans?
Because now that I think about it, Haven't
And let me
really
put that
seen them.
question straight away
Haven't
to
really seen
you,
them outside of
Wolfgang. Both
memes.
as a military officer and as a security advisor, you have considerable experience also in Eastern Europe and the Caucasus, including in Georgia,
Privately
where
calling
a
on Germany to
similar
provide Kiev
frozen
with long-range Taurus
conflict
missile.
has been going on
Hey,
for quite a long time.
you
Do
know,
you
Schultz
think
has actually
Transnistria is the
given
next domino?
not really a reason.
I think we have seen
Not really
tensions
a
in
reason why he doesn't want to give
Transnistria
Taurus,
coming
but
up
he
and
claimed that
then
if he gives
again
Taurus,
flowing down.
then we'll need
Several
Germans to be
times.
firing
This is a
Taurus.
30 years
Because if
old
we get
conflict, I
Taurus,
would say, of
if
course,
someone
Soviet
doesn't
conflict,
use them
where it was not
properly,
clear from the beginning
correctly,
whether Moldova would
as intended,
join back to Romania, as
Taurus
it was
could be
historically the case
used
between
to
the First and Second
strike
World War,
a
and then
certain
these
target in
Slavic
Moscow.
populations would not
I think he's scared
be
that
in a
Ukraine gets
position to do
Taurus
that
and Ukraine immediately
wanted
uses
to
it to wipe out
maybe
the
then
entire
regain
Russian
their own
oligarchy.
independence or
So
join
he's
Russia.
trying
This
to
is
be like,
something we have discussed
no,
for
you
years.
can't
The
get
OECD,
Taurus.
the
Because
Organization
like
for
to
Security
give you
and
Taurus, I also have to give you
Cooperation on
Germans to be
was
firing those
involved.
Taurus.
The Russians
And I'm
that
not
were,
still ready to
had
send
the
you
mandate for
Germans. You
peacekeeping
know, I
operations.
don't know
They
if
were
you can get
also
Germans.
asked
Even
to
though
withdraw
France so
heavy
far,
weaponry,
it was
which they
four
did,
different
also
countries who
sparing their
so far
education
refused to
contribution
rule out the chance
in
of
the years
sending
up to
personnel
2003.
on the ground.
Since then,
Germany
we
was
have
not one of them.
around
Germany very quickly was
1,500
like, no,
Russian
we're
and
not going to
local
do
troops
anything.
in
No,
this
no, no.
area
We
with
will
light
not.
equipment. So when you look
Did
realistically
Storm
also
Shadows
at
kill
the
Russians in
geography
Russia
of
yet?
this
No,
conflict, I
look,
could not
it's different
imagine
when it comes to
that
Taurus,
major
alright?
operations
It's
could
Schultz, he's
start
trying
from
to be
there.
nice to Germans.
In particular,
So,
since
to
the Russian
Germans,
forces
to
are totally
Russians,
absorbed, in particular
he
land
wants them to
forces,
have
with the
like
Ukrainian
the
war,
trade
and even
relationship back in the future,
withdrew
I'm guessing.
forces from
He doesn't
Kaliningrad,
really
from
want
the
to be
Baltic
striking targets
borders, and
within
from,
Russia
by the
itself.
way, also from the
Also, I
very long
think
border to
he's kind of
Finland.
scared of
So the question is,
Saying,
how
sorry,
should
in a
Russia
nutshell,
react?
just
in a
the
nutshell,
fact that
could this lead to
Russians have been using
annexation?
In a
really,
nutshell,
really strong rhetoric
Russia
against his
has no
country
means at the
specifically all
moment
of
to
this
do
time. I
that.
think
They
he's
would,
kind
of
of
course,
trying not to get
be
on the
happy when
worst
the
side.
tensions could be increased
He's
at
an
this
interesting
point.
little man
But
when it
a
comes to
real
that.
military threat I cannot see for the moment.
Oh,
But
the
the
things
tensions
are
will
alright.
rise.
The things are
Thank you
good. I'm
very
doing
much.
well.
Let
I'm
me
doing
pass
well.
that
I'm doing a
straight
bunch
on
of
to Daniel. Moldova
redecorating
itself seemed
at
to
the moment.
downplay
I'm caught
the
up in just
Transnistrian
being.
request, saying it was a propaganda
Who the hell knows what I'm
move.
doing? I'm doing
What should
painting.
the
I'm
West do
doing
now?
shit.
How should the
I'm
West
trying to
respond?
be busy
I
because
think the West
I gotta stay in
response
the
should be
workplace I'm at
mostly led
for
by the
at least
expectations of Moldova here, because
a year,
ultimately it's
approximately
about
more.
the sovereignty and territorial integrity of
So
that
right now I'm
country.
working on everything
But however,
outside
if we
of that
take a
while
look,
waiting
what could
for
be the real strategic
requalification,
intentions of the
so then I can
Kremlin
get a
with
better
this move?
workplace. Yeah.
This is obviously hindering Moldova's European
5 minutes after Ukraine gets Taurus. Oh. Consum advertisement. Oh, nice. Didn't play. Who leaked our battle plan? Who leaked our battle plan? This is not funny. Who gave this to the media? You were not supposed to see this, okay? This was not supposed to be public knowledge. That would be cool though. Why is Schultz scared of that? We should just send him this clip. Like, Schultz, look, it looks alright. We're not gonna harm Tom Cruise if you're scared for him.
accession process, and also
going
to
to run out.
influence
No worries, my man, no
the
worries.
presidential elections, which will be upcoming during the spring. And in this regard, I think the European responses should also aim at those.
Why am I watching these slow people? Someone mentioned Transnistria. I'll say the video on Transnistria. They're saying they need protection because there's Russians in Transnistria and they need to be protected from being seen as Russians because they are very hurt. I don't know. I have no fucking idea what they were doing. So, some commentary on the whole thing. It seems like Russia itself acknowledged this a bit less than I thought it would. But also, I don't know what sort of... I was expecting like a very dramatic reaction from Russians. And I'm getting like a bunch of mild commentary and that's that. So, yeah, I don't know. Oh, no. Oh, no worries, no worries. We've been doing how to say this, interestingly themed streams lately. Oh, we've been very, very interesting on that. But no worries, no worries. I think it's fine. Like, we've been streaming for a very, very long time. I say we as if it's more people and it's just me. But I understand that people just get busy sometimes. It's a normal thing. I think I went through like 3 different groups of people, you know, constantly watching and then finding jobs and shit. It's a cool little thing. It's a cool little thing. Like, I'm here because I'm waiting to get a better job, and then I'll also have to see where I'll be. We're just kind of living together.
It was brought to you by Incognito. Today, Moldova's breakaway Transnistria province calls for Russian protection. Germany nearly shoots down a US drone by mistake, and China pushes ahead with an even tougher Hong Kong security law. From TLDR News, this is your daily briefing for Thursday the 29th of February.
I'm doing my part.
Politicians in Moldova's Kremlin-backed breakaway region of Transnistria have appealed to the Russian President Vladimir Putin to protect the 220,000 Russians living in Moldova against pressure from Chisinau. Now, this appeal did stop short of directly asking Moscow to integrate Transnistria into Russia, as had previously been speculated. Since 1992, after the Soviet Union's collapse, ethnic Russians and Ukrainians in Moldova's Transnistria region feared marginalization as Moldova pivoted towards Romania and away from Russia.
I was home.
After a short conflict, Transnistria gained de facto sovereignty and has functioned as an unrecognized independent state, maintaining close ties to Russia. Transnistria also has a Russian military presence, receives Russian financial subsidies, and uses Russian as one of its official languages. Now, the situation hasn't actually changed that much since 1992, and tensions haven't really been stoked. But since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, things have changed. That's because there have been fears in the West and Moldova that the Kremlin could use Transnistria to open a new front in the southwest of Ukraine in the direction of Odessa. To deter Russian influence, Moldova was granted EU candidate status in 2022. And in December last year, opened accession negotiations alongside neighboring Ukraine. Right after, however, Putin signed a decree that simplified Russian naturalization of Moldovans, Kazakhs, and Belarusians, making it easier for Transnistrians to get Russian citizenship. In fact, Russia's Deputy Foreign Minister, Mikhail Galazin, has warned Moldova that any attempt to resolve the Transnistria issue by force will be considered an attack on Russia. For their part, the EU has stated that Moldova does not need to resolve Transnistria's status to join the bloc. Yeah, the Moldovan government since January has arguably taken actions to start integrating the breakaway region back into Moldova. For instance, Moldova introduced new customs duties on January 1st, 2024, which stirred up some controversy by requiring import duties from Transnistrian businesses. These new customs duties leveled against Transnistrians have angered officials there, who say that the measures harm local residents and businesses. Protests soon erupted, and the breakaway state's government has accused Moldova of starting an economic blockade. Moldova, however, has repeatedly denied putting pressure on Transnistria and accused Russia of taking advantage of the situation and destabilizing the region. Former Moldovan Defense Minister Anatol Sala outlined that Russia's aims are to take control of Moldova and block Ukraine from the western flank, then to block Moldova's collaboration with Romania and Moldova's accession to the EU. Therefore, Western leaders are undoubtedly paying very close attention to how the Kremlin will respond to Transnistria's request and what could happen next.
Oh, he does debate.
There's more on the way, but be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to make the daily briefing part of your daily routine. Or just search for us in your podcast app to listen along.
For USA.
In news from the Red Sea, a German warship nearly shot down a US drone by mistake, according to recent reports. The German Hesse frigate is deployed in the Red Sea as part of an EU mission to protect commercial shipping from attacks by Houthi militants in Yemen. But Germany's defense minister confirmed that the ship opened fire after efforts to identify an unknown drone were not successful.
That could be fucked.
But
that could be
the drone was not
fucked if
hit,
Russia actually does
as the two missiles crashed into the sea because of a technical defect.
That could be bad. That could be bad.
Now, the German defense ministry said that the incident involved a reconnaissance drone belonging to an ally, without naming the ally. But the Spiegel reports say that it was indeed a US drone. This confusion could have been due to the fact that the drone may not have been operating as part of the Red Sea mission, but rather as part of an unrelated US anti-terror operation in the region.
Trying to say that he doesn't
despite the
believe
potential embarrassment of the incident, the German naval presence has not been without success. The German warship did apparently successfully shoot down 2 Houthi drones over the Red Sea on Tuesday, within a 20-minute window.
Dylan does. Well, he had Anastasia on. It was
Over
great.
to China now, where ministers have hit back at Britain's Foreign Secretary, David Cameron, for criticising an upcoming Hong Kong security law. The Hong Kong office of Beijing's Ministry of Foreign Affairs
he needs Anastasia. He needs Anastasia. He needs his little band of Ukrainians there, just to be like the normal person in the conversation, the one that's actually based. And then everyone else is just, an American guessing what's going on.
Who was the UK's Prime Minister during what he termed the golden era for UK-Chinese relations in the 2000s.
Oh, that's true, but to be fair, Fabian's a piece of trash.
References to external forces
Fabian's a piece of trash. He should have proper Ukrainians there, and then whenever someone does shit like that, they should be banned. Like, no questions asked, you're just banned. That's that. You're gone. Go rot somewhere.
The proposed law, known as Article 23, will target crimes including treason, theft of state secrets,
and then he goes on and he presents his victory.
And external interference.
Man went on Twitter later, he was like, yeah, well, I was actually winning the whole debate, and now people are choosing to focus on my poor use of words because they're so angry that I was winning the debate.
Pro-democracy protests and riots as people demonstrated against the new powers, which meant acts including like subversion and collusion with foreign forces could be punished with life imprisonment. So it'll be interesting to see how the city, as well as the international community, respond to these new updates.
International community won't do shit,
in other news, a corruption scandal in Spain has been causing trouble for the socialist government of Pedro Sanchez.
You got one in fire
things seem to be getting worse, as now the EU's anti-fraud office is also looking into it. Essentially, the scandal surrounds former Transport Minister Jose Luis Abalos, whose former assistant has been arrested and accused of taking bribes.
Now that I think about it, I think it might be because like I went through it.
During the pandemic.
I went through that shit when we were learning about the war as kids, and then you go and you ask your parents about the war, and then they tell you horrible stories. Like for the longest time, I had this idea that we're gonna get invaded soon, and it was like, oh yeah, how do I board up the windows quickly? So we used to be, while the house was being rebuilt, we had some like boards and shit in the stashes. And I was like, yeah, so like the quickest way to like board up the windows. Like I find where the stashes are and I know where we have the tools and everything, It's like a whole little plan built in your head. But I think I kind of went through it. Which is why I think currently the videos might not like mess me up that much. It's because I'm like, yeah, I know this feel. I got plans on what to do, and that's as much as you can really do.
One of his own lawmakers sits as an independent, so he'll need to keep him on side too. Finally,
hasn't seen a war as recently, right? So for UK, yeah. I guess it feels a lot different.
While living with HIV, is now in remission from
anyways.
serious conditions.
Well, you have no bunkers.
Demonstrating the effectiveness of his
we have one very nearby. Nazis actually made it.
Paul Edmonds, 68, underwent
it was made by Nazis, and then it was used by Nazi resistance, and then it was used by our people during the Homeland War. But it's, relatively nearby in a case that if I get to know about an impending attack on Croatia, I will be able to reach it. But like, if an attack is now, no chance. No chance.
Clearly,
so,
though, the state of the world right now is
it's
by
like
uncertainty
50-50.
and risk. And while you're watching the daily briefing, your personal information could easily have been sold or published online without you even knowing.
I feel Serbia's gonna go for Kosovo first. So I'm gonna get news about them coming to Kosovo, and I'm gonna be like, all right, I should probably prepare myself to go to this bunker. I should probably prepare myself because, like, once they're done with Kosovo, they're gonna move on to us.
And sell your personal information information to anyone, from a company to
Nazis
an
thought nobody
online
would attack
criminal.
us. Oh,
This
so
data
they
can
built like
include your
bunkers in
name and
outposts,
aliases,
but they didn't
social
build them in
security
Germany
number,
itself.
login credentials, home address, location history, online
Ah, that's
activity, and more.
interesting.
Even if you're not fussed about a phone call here or there, one day it could be a little call, but the next day a huge loan taken out in your name. In fact, that exact thing happened to me a few years ago. So if you want to protect your data, Incogni is here to help. Incogni reaches out to data brokers on your behalf, requests your personal data removal,
I
and
don't even
deals
have
with
this
any
big issue with like
objections
data
from their
brokers
side.
though.
Since many data
I've never
brokers
really
continue collecting your personal
figured out how
information
big the
even
thing is,
after they've
even in
removed
other
it,
countries. We don't
Incogni
really have
also
this.
takes care that your data
We do have the
stays
thing
off
though.
the
I got a
market
suspicious
by
package
conducting
recently.
repeated removal requests. So create an account with our
Basically,
link in the description.
I got
Grants
a
Incogni the ability to work
notification
on
on
your
my
behalf
phone
and sit
that like a
back
package
as
is
they
coming.
make you safer. Plus, if you use our link in the description,
And
you
then
get an exclusive 60%
the postman
off an
comes
annual Incogni
and I'm
plan.
like, hey,
Thanks
I
for
got a
checking it out,
notification
and
that you're
thanks to
like bringing me
Incogni
the
for sponsoring
package,
this
but
video.
I didn't order shit. I didn't order shit. I don't really know what's the package supposed to be. And I checked with my mother and she hasn't ordered anything either. So like there's not supposed to be a package. And he's like, oh yeah, there is a package, but like it's a suspicious sender. You want me to just like send it back? And I was like, yeah, sure. So he did. So I don't know what it was. I still don't know who sent it. Looked through the emails later. I feel it's because my mother tried to order something from Facebook and then pulled back the order because she figured out she likes paying when the postman brings it and not paying by card. So I guess it's because of that, but who the hell knows, really? You did touch it for the first two and got involved? Yeah, it's exactly the same situation. It's kind of fun to watch it unfold. You know, and Americans are like, oh, why should we be getting involved in European affairs? How well did that go for you in World War II? It didn't really, did it? We could have been done with World War II a lot earlier if someone wasn't sitting on their ass doing nothing, waiting for someone to attack their land specifically. Like, come on. You tried this. You tried the isolationism thing. It didn't really work. It didn't really help. Should we maybe try Plan B now? But no, it's still like, oh, European affairs. And then Putin goes and he says, yeah, I want to take Alaska back. Oh, these are European issues. Oh, Putin wants to bomb goddamn Washington. Nah, that's European issues. Oh, we have evidence of the Russians being involved in our elections. European issues. Oh, these are European issues. We're safe here on our little island. Just come on. It's such a willingly blind way to look at this. I can't even take it seriously. I feel it's not serious. It can't be serious. They're like actively involved. They're actively buying your politicians. Just recently was it discovered that there was misinformation about Biden, like a supposed Biden corruption case. It was just solely misinformation spread by Russians. And still, it's supposed to be seen as a European affair, even though Russians are trying to crush your democracy, for fuck's sake. Come on. USA made a lot of money selling weapons to Europe in World War II. True, but they can make a lot of money now. Give us more weapons. Give us more shit. Give Ukraine more shit. They're willing to pay. They're going to be GG with paying. Give them more shit. A lot of zero IQ rednecks and other pro-Trump degenerates to bomb it from the inside. That too, to be fair. That too. Now that makes me wonder though. I feel that would be seen as less of a Russian issue too. I wonder if they would say it as an issue separate from Russia. Ah, crap, that might be smart. He's gonna send Americans themselves to destroy America. And still you're gonna have people be like, fighting Russia? Defeating Russia? Why should we defeat Russia? We're dealing with Americans who have been brainwashed. We're not dealing with Russians here. This is not a problem caused by Russians. Yes, we see their little fingertips all over this, but no, leave them alone. Are we going to butcher? I don't know, I'm not interested in politics. Oh, the whole thing was like, I don't know, I'm apolitical. I remember that being a meme. Like you have two options, and then a person is just like, nah, I'm apolitical. I don't really know. Hey, by the way, I have to show you European correspondent. I saved European correspondent. I saved Frenchies. I saved Arthur. I saved Armenia. I saved a lot of shit. But the most important thing I've saved, actually, I saved this for Eurovision. Look at it, the Eurovision entry. Look at this shit. Netherlands.
Europe, let's come together.
Come on.
It's now or never. I love you all.
Wolfenstein, we're Nazis and
Welkom in Europa, blijf hier tot ik dood ga.
Capture USA. Oh shit, yeah.
Europa, welkom in Europa, blijf hier tot ik dood ga. Europa, Europa.
Bezoek mijn friends of neem de benen naar Wenen. Ik wil weg uit Netherlands, maar mijn paspoort is verdwenen. Heb gelukkig geen visum nodig om bij je te zijn. Dus neem de bus naar Polen of de trein naar Berlijn. Ik heb geen geld voor Parijs, dus gebruik mijn fantasie. Heb je een eurotje, please? Zeg merci en alsjeblieft. Ik ben echt alles kwijt, behalve de tijd. Dus ik ben elke dag op reis, want de wereld is van mij.
I love European energy.
In Europa, blijf hier tot ik dood ga. Welkom in Europa, blijf hier tot ik dood ga.
Look, I'm a European Union fan, right? I'm a European Union fan. And I love it being celebrated. It is a fake language, that's true.
Abi, ik ben zo alleen. Io sono in Italia, maar toch doet het pijn. Ben aan het vluchten van mezelf, roep de hele dag om help. Ja, ik geef zelfs mensen geld, maar er is niemand die me helpt. Ik hoef geen escargots, hoef geen vis en chips, hoef geen paël. Ja, no, ik weet niet eens echt wat dat is. Zet de radio aan, ik hoor Stromae met Papa Oete. Zal niet stoppen tot ze zeggen ja, dat doet hij goed, hé.
Welkom in Europa, blijf hier tot ik dood ga. Europa, welkom in Europa, blijf hier tot ik dood ga. Europa.
Well, no. Will Ferrell would be. Who is Will Ferrell? Who's is he? That's not our man. It wouldn't be the same. No man. Nah, he's a man. No. He's not allowed to parody Eurovision. That would be, how do they call it? Cultural appropriation. Dutch fella.
Aan het einde van de dag zijn
in
we
the
allemaal
Atlantic Ocean.
mensen.
Yeah.
Mijn vader zei me ooit, het is een wereld zonder grenzen. Ik mis je elke dag, is wat ik stiekem
Boycotting Eurovision for banning
Zie je
Russia,
nou
but
een
not
paar?
Israel.
Ik heb naar je geluisterd.
I'm 50-50. I'm 50-50 because I'm happy that they banned Russia. And I don't want them to do a pussy decision now with bringing back Russia. To be like, okay, guys, we're not gonna ban anyone. I don't want them to do a pussy decision now. I want Russia to stay banned. I want Russia to be banned, and I want Russia to stay banned. Now, when it comes to Israel, I'm not sure how I would feel about it if they did get banned. No, I don't think it's about the political songs. I think it's about the fact that they banned Russia wholly, right? Like, Russia can't even compete. Russia can't even get a song. And Russia can't even get a song in because it's attacking Ukraine as we speak. On Israel, I'm not sure. I'm mostly not really sure how much when we talk about certain officials in Israel using genocidal rhetoric. I'm not sure how this is strongly ingrained in the country of Israel as much as genocidal rhetoric in Russia is ingrained in Russians. I have no goddamn idea. Yeah, it's a dumbass thing, because then you're like, oh, if we ban him, But if it turns out, if it looks like we're banning them for responding to a terrorist attack onto their own soil, that's gonna look really, really bad, right? But also, if we don't ban them, while we know how dire the situation is, then it seems like we're kind of allowing it. So I've got no idea. I absolutely have no idea. Don't Billy Gaza children, holy shit. In the cockpit. I got him German. I mean, I guess. Russia got banned for invading Ukraine. Arguments made for Israel is that they are committing genocide. Yeah, I understand that the arguments are pretty much equal. It's like Russia is attempting genocide in Ukraine right now. So then it's like, is Israel trying to do the same in Gaza? And I'm genuinely like, I've got no idea. I have got no idea over that. I do understand that for people in Eurovision, it's also like a messy thing to make a decision on. Yeah, I've got no idea. I can't really blame people for boycotting, to be fair. Can't really blame people for boycotting. I do think there has been some very problematic rhetoric coming from Israel, and again, the situation in Gaza is really, really dire as we speak. I don't know if you've seen, but USA has had conversations recently about the possibility of airdropping aid to Gaza, because they feel that they can't get it anymore to Gaza securely, with like just bringing it over in trucks. So they're trying to find different ways to get it, because a lot of people are in danger of starvation. So I do understand why it would be compared. I could see that. I don't think Russia got banned for invading. They got banned the way that broadcast Eurovision member was used. Oh, I didn't know that. That might be an interesting distinction. Well, I want Russia to stay banned. No matter why they got banned, I want them to stay banned. Russians shouldn't be allowed at any international events, fully and throughoutly. The fact that they were allowed to go. You remember when was it in 2022 or 2023 when fuckers were allowed to come at Miss Universe contest? They were allowed to come at the Miss Universe contest, and know what they did to the Miss Universe? They sent a woman wearing a Russian Empire-based dress. Like, while they're doing a whole invasion because they believe the lands of the Empire belong to them, and Putin goes on comparing himself to a fucking Tsar, and she goes around and she wears a dress inspired by the Empire. There's fuckers all in all. They shouldn't be allowed at any international event. But also I feel that their culture is strongly connected to the delusion of having historical right to lands that aren't really theirs. I don't know enough about Israel to know how strong such a connection is in Israel. Lots of countries are very pro-Israel. Germany already said they might not participate either if you ban Israelis. Oh yeah, Germany. I do understand that, because again, if you ban Israel, it might be seen as by some countries as if you are banning Israel for responding to a terrorist attack onto its soil. So then it's like, oh, like, are you allowed to do that? If a terrorist attack happens onto any one of our soils, will we also be looking at very unfavorable messaging coming? And yeah, I understand it's a fuck decision. No, banning Ukraine. I don't support banning Ukraine. But mostly because I do think that it's important to keep the focus of the international community on what's going on. I think Ukraine is doing really well with like spreading their messaging, and I think Ukraine is doing really well with bringing the conversation back. I think that's all right. So I'm not really against. I don't feel it's a waste of money, basically, to be participating in international events, right? This is why Russia wants it too. It's not a waste of money that your country has access to something like this. It shows a greater political acceptance, social acceptance in a way. There's a reason why they're pissed off, because they're not allowed to participate, right? Like last year when Ukraine was performing at Eurovision, Russia was directly bombing the places where the singers have been brought up in. They do that on purpose. They're pissed off that they're not allowed to participate because they know not being allowed to participate signals isolation. It signals that, hey, this world doesn't want you anymore. You were allowed to participate. You were a piece of shit. And then we got rid of you. It's a good thing. And keeping the participation is also a good thing. It's a performance, really. It's supposed to be a performance. It's a performance in the name of entertainment. But it still signals that, hey, you are being accepted as a part of this. So, taxpayer money. Like I was 11 million hymna when Dombilya Avdiivka. Oh, 11 million hymnes? I mean, isn't that the Eurovision election took 11 million though? That's a lot. That is a lot of money, to be fair. That is a lot of money. That's a nice amount of cash. We could talk about it being used in better ways, definitely. I do feel it could have been used. They could have used a lot less. I don't know how much they used for a Croatian one this year. I'm not sure we used that much. To be fair also, I'm not sure if I know how much that is in euros, because I'm not sure if my calculations are proper. Eutro, she goes. €267,000. And ours are more expensive. In 2022, our Dora was like... No, wait, was it in kunas? Or was it in euros? 2022, we were switching then, right? What was it? Oh, it was kunas. It was kunas. Wait. Maybe ours wasn't. What did I say? 4,916,000 kunas. Yeah, ours was like double that. And we don't really do a... I mean, do we do a big performance? We kind of do a big Nah. I mean, we do middle. I don't know how to explain it, but like performance, for example, they don't really get all of the money that they're supposed to get for their stages. They don't get it for Dora. They get the money after they win Dora and they actually go to Eurovision. So we don't spend as much money when they are back at home. So the performances are usually like okay-ish. I think most of this is about managing, you know, the systems for voting and shit like that. I feel most will just be that. Fuck Netanyahu, true. Fuck Netanyahu. We should criticize Israel for how little they are aiding civilians, but these claims of genocide are ridiculous. I do feel that the claims of genocide are playing into the refusal to aid civilians, because it's basically seen as like, oh, they're saying, they got some people there, some Netanyahu's people saying that they want to basically wipe everyone off the face of the earth. And then also they are like refusing to help civilians that are literally starving. So it's seen as like an action. You know what I mean? not aiding these civilians isn't seen as a lack of Israeli action to help civilians. It's seen as Israeli action to do genocide. Like they're choosing to do this. It's not that they don't know what the situation is or that they just don't want to get involved. They are involved by not helping. Right? That is what they're planning. So I think it plays into that. So the second that the genocide claims would get proven, if they had any, but correctly pointed out, the International Court did do an investigation. I think they said that they haven't found enough evidence. But then again, I have the issue with that too. Because they said the same shit about Ukraine. UN said the same shit about Ukraine. They were like, oh, we still need to be doing investigations to figure out if it's a genocide. So then it's like I'm definitely certain it is a genocide attempt when it comes to Ukraine. I'm not certain if it is a genocide attempt when it comes to Israel. Mostly because we've been focused a lot more on looking at what's happening over in, Ruski lands. So I know how often they are using genocidal rhetoric, and I know how often their people are using it and their officials are using it, and it's just everywhere. It's fucking everywhere. Writing goddamn articles about it. State propagandists also being paid to spread it. It's everywhere. There's no question in my mind about whether or not Russia is attempting a genocide in Ukraine. But I genuinely don't know enough about Israel to know how much it is spread there. In light of the unprecedented crisis in Ukraine, the inclusion of a Russian entry would bring the competition into disrepute. That's good. I feel that's good because if we allow them to compete again, fuckers would bring a pink tank there. They would bring a pink tank with some flowers on it and sing a little song for peace. I feel at that point. Yeah. Government spends money on something shit. There's always somebody like, why not army? I mean, it's kind of a proper thing though. It's kind of a proper thing to complain about too. Because why not a certain amount of drones? I don't feel it would be good to cut these side funds completely though. Of course, I don't think all of this should be stopped. I don't feel Ukraine participating in international events should be stopping, and I don't feel Ukraine, working on their own civilian infrastructure would be able to be stopped. Like when people are complaining about, pavements and stuff being fixed. It's an interesting thing to complain about. I don't really feel putting a whole stop to that would be too smart, but I do feel less money could be used more effectively. It would be good that something like that would be encouraged. Other international organizations like Wood Food Program also suspended aid deliveries as it's too dangerous. Are they committing genocide too now? If they commit it because it's too dangerous, that would still be blamed on Israel making the situation dangerous, wouldn't it? If you allowed Russians to compete, but only someone who is actually against Putin and the war, would that be okay? Oh, a unicorn. I don't know. What's my thing with that? I think Navalnaya brought really good attention to this problem. I don't know if she was intending to, but I think she brought really good attention to this problem. It's that we really have no way to fix the situation within Russia itself, right? We have no way to do anything about this. So personally, I don't feel Russian. If it was a performer who was against the war in a way that they would be calling for more aid to be given to Ukraine, and they were competing in the name of Russia, but like specifically and only against the war, pro-Ukraine, I feel something like that would be okay. Like, not the song that has to be political, but when they do interviews and everything later, if they would be calling for aid to be given. I feel something like that in my mind would be okay. But that's because I wanted to really focus on being against this war rather than being pro-democracy in Russia. Because we have no plan for democracy in Russia, right? Like Navalnaya walking around and then having a conversation about, you know, oh, the situation in Russia is very dire. It's meaningless, really. It's meaningless. This type of rhetoric doesn't do anything. It's not like we're gonna go there and replace Putin. Her words mean nothing. You know what I mean? Her words mean absolutely nothing, really. So when it comes to a Russian just against Putin, I wouldn't really... No, I would still keep Russia banned, because I feel them being allowed on this event wouldn't really mean much. It's not like you're going to fight against Putin. It's not like you're going to make your 1% of Russians be brave enough to go and fight against Putin. It's not like you're going to create any sort of a difference there, and it's not like European Union as an organization has a plan to create some sort of a difference there. So on that front we can't really do much. I don't really feel Russian opposition is useful to us at all. What? No, if you want to talk about Russia and Ukraine, all right, I don't know what you're yapping on about when you talk about referendums in Mexico. Make as many intellectuals like Russia. They hate Russian King Party president. Make them love poor people or opposition or culture. Yeah. It's letting off the steam, isn't it? It's letting off the steam. It's like how here, when you start talking about Hadeze being very corrupt, and whenever there's a new corruption scandal, they're like, oh, shit, guys, there's a lot of immigrants in Croatia right now. Huh, don't you think that's a problem? Like, you could order food right now and it could get delivered by someone who doesn't speak Croatian. Oh, I'm just saying. I'm not saying it's a big problem. I'm just saying, right? And then you start fights, and then no one talks about the corruption scandal because everyone's talking about stupid shit instead. And it happens regularly. It happens with Romani people, happens with gay people, happens regularly with basically every single group in Croatia. Whenever there is a conversation about how much you hate the government, and when the people are getting too riled up with wanting protest and wanting to start referendums, you just turn over and you're like, "Huh, guys, okay, you wanna be protesting against the corrupt government, but should gay people be allowed to adopt?" And immediately, like half of the opposition goes to bitch about something else. So I see that it would work in Russia well too. I see it would be very, very useful there. Nadezhdin. All the coordinators of his headquarters in the Russian Federation were detained. Oh. Hey, what happened? What happened? Fuck, did I save the video on this? I didn't. I think Neapolitani made a video on this. And she had like a couple possible candidates to be Russian candidates in the elections. Fuck, did I want to watch it like last time, or wouldn't I want to watch it? I had it saved. Morgan? Oh, no, not really, but I do follow her on Instagram and Twitter? Or Threads? One of the two. One of the two. I messed them up in my head. But on one of the two. War graphics. What? Where is my Neapolitani? Where is she going? Multipolarity. Multipolarity. A speech. Fuck, I wanted to find a specific video. Oh look, I wrote it in Croatian last time. Do you think it worked? No. Oh! Oh no, only a few of them were in Croatian? Oh, that wasn't fun. That wasn't fun. Bolsheviks, holy shit, my dude. What century do you think we're in? Where do we think we're existing? What is that?
I'm very glad to see this.
History? Oh, the fuck do I have in my watch history? Oh, here she is. Oh, here she is. Oh, here she is. I go here. And then I go to see what's going on in Russia.
Водночас допомагає Росії боротися з економічною ізоляцією. Цьогорічні вибори
It's taking me like a while.
на третій результат.
But basically, she does go like, oh yeah, it doesn't really matter. Hey, it was in English last time. It doesn't really matter who wins. It doesn't really matter who's gonna win in the first place because, you know, it's gonna be Putin regardless. So who the fuck cares about that? But she does present more candidates. Brave to open up history. Hey, I have a thing. Wait, can you see it on screen? You can. Check this out. This is my song shit. This is where I have my song shit. And this is where I have meme videos on. So this is like the normal one. And I can open this one on stream. Because this is the normal one. This is the one where I keep political stuff. And then the other two are for chaos. I don't know what's in the history of the other two, and no one will ever know. No one will ever know. Yeah, I had to separate them because having them all on the same account means that your algorithm is shit. So like when you have the algorithm to show you memes, but then you play some songs, then songs overtake it. So I would be like watching memes, and then tomorrow I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna watch some memes in my recommended, and I instead get a bunch of like new K-pop releases or something, you know. So yeah, I gotta control for it. I gotta control for it, and also I love having politics in a separate one because I get good political videos recommended to me. I get new creators recommended to me. I've been getting Ukrainian creators recommended to me lately, but there's no subtitles, so that makes me want to cry. But the recommendations work really well. The algorithm is really helpful. All subscriptions are Russian propaganda. Ah, no worries, no worries, no worries. Wouldn't do that to myself, holy shit.
Та націонал-лібералів претендує проросійська партія Альянс за об'єднання румунів. У самій Росії не зміниться нічого. Сподіваюся, ви не плекаєте ілюзій на нібито антивоєнного кандидата в президенти Надєждіна. На момент запису цього відео розгортається драма з його недопущенням. Центр ізбірком закидає Надєждіну несправжність 15% підписів, які він зібрав. Той планує позиватися до суду. Та навіть якщо історія закінчиться хеппі-ендом для Надєждіна, це ще нічого не означає. Він потрібен Путіну для легітимізації подій, яку лицемірно продовжують називати виборами. Так само, як і в Північній Кореї, де парламентські вибори без вибору заплановані також на березень цього року. Що відрізняє вибори в Північній Кореї від виборів у Росії? Те, що остання ще й намагатиметься імітувати їх і на наших територіях, які тимчасово заграли.
Did you know that?
Цей епізод показує так звані онлайн-вибори в окупованому Алчевську.
But lots of big elections are happening this year. Moldova, Romania are also having big elections. It's going to be really interesting to see who's going to win because we're dealing with some possible issues in the country of Romania, right? Specifically with who their popular politicians are because they got some populists. They basically have to really popular people who they want to be presidents, but they won't be able to because they're already in different factions, and then they get a populist.
2% зареєстрованих, цього разу
then, of course,
дискваліфікували
they got Iran,
кожного четвертого. Такий
just
підхід до
randomly
виборів не
disqualifies
дозволив
people
відомим
from voting.
політичним діячам балотуватися.
It's even almost worse than in Russia, really.
Натомість в
But Russia doesn't
авторитарній
even count your
Венесуелі
votes,
цьогоріч
so like you're not
з'явився
disqualified. It
примарний
doesn't
шанс
matter if you
на
go out.
вільні вибори. Як не дивно, можливість їх проведення пов'язана з російсько-українською війною. Адже після впровадження ембарго на російську нафту американці згадали про значні запаси викопного палива в Каракасі. на який майже 2 десятиліття тому наклали санкції. Уряду Мадуро запропонували угоду – послаблення санкцій з нафтового сектору Венесуели в обмін на вільні вибори. Відмовлятися від такої можливості було б не дуже розумно. Особливо, коли в тебе в країні інфляція в якийсь момент перевищила 1 000 000 %. От би дожити і побачити такий самий ефект від антиросійських санкцій. Адже тепер йому, скоріш за все, доведеться дозволити балотуватися своїй основній конкуренції – Марії Коріній Мачадо, якій минулого літа заборонили обіймати посаду протягом 15 років. В іншому разі американці погрожують відмовитися від домовленостей. Шанси на Мачадо скоти Мадуро на вільних і чесних виборах досить високі. На праймеріз опозиції вона здобула понад 90% голосів. Між тим, приводів для оптимізму не надто багато. Ніщо досі не завадило Мадуро шантажувати світ розв'язанням війни у Латинській Америці. Занепокоєння міжнародної спільноти викликають його погрози анексувати майже 3/4 багатої на нафту Гаяни. Диктатуру Мадуро у Венесуелі підтримують Росія, Куба, Іран, Північна Корея, Білорусь та Китай. Та можливі наслідки від потенційної війни в Латинській Америці навіть не порівнювані з тим, що чекає світ в разі гарячого конфлікту у Тайванській затоці. На початку року відбулися вибори у Китайській Республіці. Так офіційно називається Тайвань. На виборах президента 13 січня перемогу здобув прозахідний кандидат від Демократичної прогресивної партії Лай Цінде, який підтримує незалежність острова. Він є найгіршим партнером для Пекіна з точки зору відносин між островом і материком. Тому шанси на можливе протистояння у Тайванській затоці між Пекіном і Тайбеєм лише зросли. А враховуючи зобов'язання, які має США перед Китайською Республікою на Тайвані, це може призвести навіть до збройного конфлікту між КНР та Сполученими Штатами. Потенційне вторгнення Пекіну на Тайвань, на думку аналітиків Bloomberg, може знищити світову економіку. І буде коштувати $10 трильйонів. Тобто близько 10% світового ВВП. Та ймовірність китайського вторгнення важко назвати високою. Армія не накопичує війська на узбережжі. Та й автори звітів щодо корупції китайців у цій галузі оцінюють шанси Сі Цзіньпіня на успіх як низькі. На тривожній політичній траєкторії перебуває Південна Африка.
But yeah, basically I wanted you to see the Russian ones, because the Russian ones, where the fuck is the Russian ones? At one point she talks about Russia and she has like different people on screen, and then she's just like, yeah, but it doesn't matter anyways, because we know who's going to win, and we do know who's going to win, so yeah, god, I'm useless. But with Nadezhda being gone and us not doing anything about this, I just feel it further reinforces the fact that any conversation with Russian opposition is a waste of time, because we're not going to help them anyways. We have no way to help them. It's not like we can go in, go balls deep and bring democracy to Russia. It's not like that would be seen as acceptable or really something that we would want to be paying for in the first place, I assume. So we can't go there and do anything. We can't really fund any sort of international organizations within Russia. We can give money to Team Navalny, and they've already shown how they use this money. So that also seems to not really be the most useful solution. It's just a waste of time, really. There's no point even trying to do this. But what did I skip over? I skipped over this.
By Incogni. On Monday, French President Emmanuel Macron caused quite a stir when, at a late-night news conference after...
Macron has been making some new comments. He refuses to walk back the claim that we shouldn't rule out sending troops to Ukraine. He refuses to back down. He refuses to say he didn't mean it like that. He has made a statement that his words on this were carefully chosen and deliberate. So yeah, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. Where did I save the last comment on this? Who the hell knows? Somewhere here. I saved a bunch of new shit. There's the Communists of America thing. Yeah, he was the first to announce not the possibility of sending troops, but the refusal to rule it out, and he explained his statement was completely deliberate and considered. So what he's basically doing is he's fighting against NATO, saying that, oh, he didn't mean it like that. Oh, he didn't mean it like that. He didn't want to say that we might send troops to Ukraine. He didn't want to say that, you know. He was trying to say something else and it got mistranslated. And he's like, nope.
After a special European summit focused on Ukraine, he apparently suggested...
Which I still don't think he's going to send troops in, to be fair. But I do welcome his rhetoric. Also because there was... Who was it? One of the ambassadors, and I can't remember which one. Latvia? I want to say it was Latvia. But one of the ambassadors has recently made a really strong claim that in case Russia attacks NATO, Kaliningrad should be... What was the word? Neutralized? So I thought that was a really strong, really good threat, but also really, really strong to be made. And, you know, I welcome that, and I also welcome Macron's words. It feels that our leaders are not scared, at least verbally, attacking Russia at this point. So, you know, take little happiness that you have.
Didn't explicitly advocate for deploying troops on the ground, but rather refused to actively rule the idea out, in order to create what he himself described as strategic ambiguity. For context, strategic ambiguity is a term usually used to describe America's long-standing policy towards Taiwan, and it essentially involves creating uncertainty about your position to deter the other side from escalating, whilst also avoiding active provocation. Anyway, Macron's comments went down like a lead balloon, not just with the Kremlin, who warned that active Western involvement in Ukraine would make direct conflict between Russia and NATO, quote, inevitable, but also most of Ukraine's allies. The White House promptly declared it would not send troops before Britain, Italy, Spain, Poland, Czechia, and NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg all quickly followed suit. But perhaps the most explicit condemnation of the idea came from German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, who, almost immediately after Macron's comments, put out a statement on Twitter saying, "It is clear there will be no ground troops from European countries or NATO." A few hours later, Scholz pushed back even harder, saying that there was, quote, unanimous agreement amongst European leaders that troops wouldn't be sent to Ukraine, and that this had been agreed from the beginning. This is just the latest in a growing series of disagreements between France and Germany. And while Scholz's sentiment is clearly shared by most of NATO, the tone of his response is a symptom of the current dysfunction in the Franco-German relationship. So in this video, we're going to take a look at the widening gulf between France and Germany over Ukraine, the other issues currently straining the relationship, and how this falling out might change the balance of power within Europe. So, as we've just mentioned, Scholz clearly doesn't like Macron's policy of strategic ambiguity, in part because Scholz is just more wary of escalation than Macron is. But that's not the only thing the two disagree about. In fact, as we see it, there are at least 3 other Ukraine-related disagreements between them.
It's doing very well,
First,
isn't
there's the
it?
issue of
Did you see about
Germany's tourist
China
missiles, which are long-range
stopping
bunker-busting cruise missiles that Ukraine wants to be able to strike targets deep behind Russia's front
China
lines.
had a payment system that worked with Russia, and it was widely advertised in Russia back when other payment systems were pulled out. And now China pulled theirs out too.
And that, in order for Germany to exercise
China
control,
got scared
prevent
of
Ukraine
being
from striking
sanctioned,
places like Moscow,
so China had to pull out. This is like when Turkish banks had to pull out from Russia too, because they were scared of being sanctioned.
Scholz's reluctance on this front has sparked some irritation.
So I feel they're working.
Not just from Ukraine, but also from
I feel they're being
Macron,
quite
who delivered the French
successful.
equivalent, the Scout missile, to Ukraine.
Croatia will not send troops.
Although it's worth saying that
actually, I
Taurus has
don't
greater
know.
range and sophistication than the Scout missile.
Maybe.
Macron seemed to tacitly mock Germany's
But I
position on this in Monday's press
feel
conference,
Croatia will not.
saying,
Mostly
"Many
because
of
our
those
president
saying
is a
never
pussy.
today are the same
I'm not
people
too
who
happy
said
with our president,
never
and
tanks,
he is
never planes 2
person in
years ago.
control of our
2 years
troops
ago, many around
officially.
this table
So
said
as long
we'll
as we
offer
don't
sleeping
replace the
bags
man.
and helmets. On top of Taurus, France and Germany have 2 other
Very
Ukraine-related
unlikely.
disputes,
We are
which
working
both
on
tie
producing
into
ammunition
wider,
though.
long-standing disagreements.
There's talks
The
about us
first is
producing
over funding.
ammunition, and then there's also
Essentially,
talks about
Macron
us
wants the EU to fund its support for Ukraine via so-called
getting
defence bonds
what was it?
issued by the EU.
Kuwait?
In other words, by borrowing money
Tanks
at the
to
EU
repair
level
and then
rather
send
than
them
at
to
the
Ukraine.
national level. This was a
So
plan
I feel in those
Estonia
types of
earlier
ways
this
we
month,
will be
but it's
helping,
not
but
gone
yeah,
down well in
yeah,
Berlin,
our
both because Germany is generally more
200
wary of debt sharing,
soldiers will likely
but also
stay.
because one of the current German coalition members, the neoliberal
Did you know
FDP,
they're getting the
have responded
minimum
to their
wage, by
declining
the
poll
way?
numbers by trying to reassert
Did you know
their fiscally
soldiers get
conservative
minimum wage?
credentials, i.e. by vetoing further
'Cause I
spending at
didn't.
the national level
I
and further
didn't.
debt sharing
They
at
get
the EU
minimum.
level.
They
This
don't
speaks
get
to
more
a
than
wider
that. They get
disagreement between
minimum.
France and
They do
Germany
get
on the
extra
issue of
for like
debt sharing.
traveling if they travel a
The
lot.
French have always been
If they
more
don't
open
travel,
to debt
they get
sharing than the
basic
Germans,
minimum.
but this divide has widened in the past few years.
Bro,
because at the same
fucking
time
soldiers,
as
I
the
always thought they were
German
really,
government,
really well
more
paid. I thought it was a
specifically
really
the
well
FDP,
paid
has become less
profession,
keen on the
apparently, no?
idea. The French, or
I'm
specifically
guessing it
Macron,
is way
have
more
become
well
more
paid.
keen on it.
Your country is actually
Since
going
the
through a
pandemic,
war, though.
Macron has frequently called
But,
for more debt sharing,
I don't know.
and only last month
we're in
he called
fucking
for
Balkans.
Eurobonds to fund, quote, major priorities
Clearly
for the
deserve
future.
extra
Macron's
payments just
reasoning
for
here
being
is that the
a
EU
soldier
needs
in
more
Balkans.
fiscal space, i.e. the ability to borrow more money to afford both the energy transition and greater military spending. And given that most EU members don't have that much fiscal space, this can only be achieved across the EU via debt sharing. The third and final Ukraine-related dispute is over the extent to which Europe should focus its new defence spending on developing its domestic industry. Essentially, Macron has just argued that, instead of buying weapons from places like the US, Europe should spend its new defence budgets developing its own arms industry. Both because this guarantees Europe a degree of strategic independence.
I even agree
and
with
because it's
Macron
more
on this, to be
sustainable.
honest. I just feel like
Last
he
year,
should
for
be
example,
sending everything
Ukraine
he can
basically
get right
bought
now.
something like 500,000
And then you
artillery
can
shells from
develop
South Korean
industry on the
stockpiles,
side, because
more than
developing
all
the
of Europe
industry is not
combined.
as
Unfortunately, without a European industry to
urgent
continue the
as
supply,
sending weapons
this
to Ukraine
represented an
is.
unsustainable one-off infusion. And Ukraine is now running out of ammo
See.
because the EU has fallen drastically short of its own production targets.
Like we're
Again,
falling
this
short of
speaks
our
to a wider
promises, and I feel
disagreement between France and
that
Germany
going
over the
headstrong
question of
into
protectionism and free
wanting
trade.
to develop
France has always been
specifically
keen
and
on
only
protectionism, i.e. using the
European,
state
almost
to
at
protect
Croatia.
and develop certain
Only
domestic industries
European
than Germany.
production
But this
isn't really
debate has
smart in
widened
this situation.
recently, largely because Macron believes that Europe
It's a
needs to
good
more
principle,
actively
just,
protect its own industry in the
you
face
know,
of what
maybe-
he sees as
maybe
unfair trade practices
you
from
gotta
both the
know
US and China.
really
So
important
what
now.
does this spat mean for the rest of Europe? Well, the collapse of the Franco-German engine has opened up the political space for new intra-EU grouping to lead the EU.
Why isn't
like the
Zelensky
Weimar
in the
Triangle.
middle?
But Franco-German disagreements over security also open up the political space for greater defence cooperation between France and the UK, especially if, as expected, Keir Starmer
the
takes
Brits.
power in Britain. Late last year, Starmer came out in favour of some sort of defence pact with the EU, separate from the pre-existing trade and cooperation agreement. In a sense, this would be a return to the early 2000s, when France and the UK, then led by Jacques Chirac and Tony Blair, took the lead on a budding European security policy, largely because they didn't think Germany was a credible actor on defence issues. Clearly, the current state of this world is being plagued by uncertainty and risk. And while you've been watching this
didn't think
video
Germany
about
was a
France and
credible
Germany,
actor.
your personal information may have been sold or published online without you even knowing it. Even whilst recording videos, we're interrupted by robocalls. And if you're wondering why you also may...
Not giving me this. A minute, a whole minute. I'm not watching an advertisement for a whole minute. I'm not doing that. I wanted to show you something about Croatia and then I forgot. Oh, I saved a video for one of the streams. Do we have time? We're gonna maybe watch it. I saved you a video of Croatian Homeland War Museum from the dude who makes videos on fancy guns, on new guns, on weird little guns existing. He also did a video on our war museum, and I thought it was an interesting one, and I thought it was worth watching it, and I forgot to watch it with you last, I think 2 times since I saved it. But we got European correspondent, and it's Northern Europe Day today, so we gotta also talk about that, because I keep on forgetting to go over these news on stream too, and that also makes me sad. I just keep on being forgetful. It's the job. But yeah, Latvia is trying to fight against Russian influence. Latvia has done some really, really good things. I don't know if this is about them. It may be. Because Latvia wants to ban imports from Russia. Latvia specifically wants to be banning imports from Russia. If you remember, we talked about this when Hungary was doing their little protests. Poland was doing their little protests against Ukrainian grain. And at the time there were conversations like, why didn't they ban Russian grain? Why are we protesting against Ukrainian grain specifically? Why not ban the Russian one? And it turns out that Latvia looked at that question and Latvia was like, yeah, why? Why don't we ban Russian grain? So they're talking about banning it right now. And then Poland said that they are going to look at how this works in Latvia. And if it works well, they're going to ban it too. So a good move. A good move has happened. We've learned something. Think Russians will protest Navalny's funeral? I'm 95% sure they're going to walk. There's like one place where they have to be, and then the other one, there's a 30-minute walk between the two of them. What I'm predicting is a group of people walking and then disbanding and then going home. And I think that's going to be that. I don't think it's going to be too big of a group because one of Russian propagandists threatened that anyone who is not a relative of Navalny should be arrested. So I really don't really think many Russians will be there, to be honest. I don't think many are going to come around. General salary 20 or 30k for active combat and some sorts of army like storming. Big additions. But if you were taken to army, and you're not healthy and nobody will use you and you can't be fully removed, you get 600, 700 hryvnias and it's all usually spent in alcohol. Oh yeah, that makes sense because like 600, 700, it does sound really, really low. It does sound really, really low. They fix the shit and they get base like 20 or 30k. 20 or 30k seems good. 600, 700 sounds ridiculously low. If it was 6,000, 7,000, even that I'm like, Wait, hryvnias to dollars. 30k. Oh, it's 728 euros. Yeah, it's basically the minimum wage in Croatia. So then according to like Ukrainian prices and standards, I feel that's an alright amount, right? Because our minimum wage is 700 round. And it's enough to live here. So I'm guessing it's good. I'm guessing it's alright. Where's the United States? USA, USA, USA. I'm giving it up. Ukrainian minimum 6,700. 162. You're basically Serbs. You're basically Serbs. You're basically Serbia. This is the wage in Serbia. That is how wages go in Serbia. Same standard, I guess. Same standard. But hey, you know, according to the prices and everything, maybe it's actually good. Maybe it's actually good. Serbia. So, to be fair, Serbs are doing well. Serbs are doing well, alright? Serbs are doing nice. Serbs are existing. 700 hryvnias is like almost $20. Yeah, but that's ridiculously low. Oh, that's ridiculously low. What can you buy for that? Nothing. Even if you're doing nothing, you still need a wage that allows you to live. Even if your position is just being in a camp and not working much, you know, you still need to get enough to be able to live. Otherwise, yeah, you become an alcoholic. Per month. But like Serbia has tiny living wages, but Serbs are living okay-ish, to be fair. So it's like, If country is low cost, it might be bad. Okay, in my country, that would be nothing. Yeah, here too, it would be, like, I think if I get around 150 euros, I would be having enough to pay my bills. But then everything else, no, like groceries, gas for the car, stuff like that, nothing of that would be paid for. But I would be able to pay only and solely the bills. So I guess if you have two people working, one of them paying the bills, the other one working for the rest of the money, you might be able to pull through. My dad's pension is higher. Oh, but like what's the minimum? It used to be 6,700 and now it's 7,100 per month. So 172 euros. 172 euros. Yeah, here exactly for paying the bills. Because like our bills here in the household, they cost around 150. Depends on the month really, but around 150 I think. Only and solely the bills. So we're talking electricity, we're talking water, we're talking internet access, we're talking graveyard, we're talking, I don't even know what else we have. There's a bunch of them that come at the same time, and yeah, you just pay them. You get tears in your eyes and you go and you pay them, and then you come home and you're sad. Latvia though, extended restrictions on the entry of Russian citizens until 4th March 2025 due to Russia's ongoing aggression in Ukraine, and that it's still posing a threat to the international security of Latvia. These measures aim to prevent Russian tourists from entering the country for leisure or tourism purposes. Which country was it? Which country was it that is saying they will now kick out Russian tourists, but also basically everyone, because they're changing the law. You can't change the law just for Russian tourist visas. You have to change the law when it comes to tourist visas of everyone. But they are changing the law so that tourists can stay for longer, because Russians made a white people party, and like the dress code was supposed to be all white. But then in the posters for this party, it was also said that like your face should be white. And the dude who made the posters, he actually is Russian. And he was like, yeah, well, I actually just wanted, like, I knew there were lots of Eastern Europeans here, and I wanted them to come so they would be able to like hang out together. You know, I wanted us to be able to chill together. So this was the way that I chose to say that, instead of being normal and making like an Eastern Europe party or whatever. No, he chose to make a white party. And he had to move away because he was getting so much hatred over the party. But yeah, they're planning to kick everyone out because of them. So that was a fun little news story. Minimum pension here is 1,587 euros per month. The fuck? What are you, Slovenian? What is that? Ridiculously high. Holy shit. That is ridiculously high. My grandmother gets like 200. I mean, she's living alright. She's supporting one of her useless sons. The other one's working, so you know. But she's living alrightish. She also saves some money. It's not a huge amount at all. It's a tiny amount, but people manage to pull through with it. But like the minimum one being more than 1,000 euros, the fuck? In Ukraine, you must be really creative or high position or big specialist to get this money, yeah. Or IT, yeah, that too. Yeah, here, I don't think here you can get that pension. I don't think you can get that paycheck. I don't know how you would get that paycheck, let alone pension. Like, paycheck? Man. So many of them struggle. 1,000. Why don't they just come elsewhere? Are they? Does your country have a situation like Is it Ireland? I think it's Ireland, the one where if you move out while receiving pension, they just don't want to give you your pension anymore. They're like, you loser, you're not getting the pension. So if you work in Ireland and you earn a pension there, you gotta stay in the system to be getting the pension. I think the system sucks like that. But I feel like with 1,500 per month, you could move to a lot of European countries and live well. Oh yeah, you're talking about, first off, the reason why it's not being told on the news, it's because it's a lie. Russians claimed that 65 prisoners of war were on that plane. This was never proven. This was never proven to any extent. They are now saying that they are willing to replace these prisoners, that they are willing to return these prisoners back home to Ukraine. So I'm actually wondering, because I trust that this is going to go through, I'm actually really wondering when the investigation starts and we get these bodies, and then we look at these bodies and we confirm their identities, and we compare the identities of these bodies to the identities of supposed soldiers that Russia said were on the flight. I'm really interested to see what's going on. I'm really interested in what's going to happen and what results we're going to get. Because I feel we all know what results we are going to get, considering the fact that there already was a whole fucking funeral service for people who died on this flight, and it was only the crew. It was only and solely the crew. I think we know what's going on. They didn't even mention that there were supposedly other people on board. They mentioned only and solely the crew. They prayed for just the crew. They didn't mention anyone else. They know they're eating shit with the story, and we're going to be able to prove it. That's the first thing. The second thing is that Russia has lied about Ukraine supposedly knowing that there were prisoners of war on this flight, which also never got proven. They were trying to do the whole thing with, like, we had communications with Ukrainians about this. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. They're literally lying on two fronts about this, and that's that. It just allows to happen. We're just allowing it, and we're not really doing anything about it. It's ridiculous. The situation is ridiculous. Christians are not being persecuted by the Ukrainian government. That's also bullshit. This is just like gobbling down crap things you people read on Twitter. There's no persecution of Christians by the Ukrainian government. My mother gets something like $50-70. Hey, my grandmother was getting similar amount to that. Now it's a bit higher because I think European Union is forcing us. So look, when you get to European Union, more than one person from the West doesn't want to go by invitation and voice everything. To go to Russia. Why the fuck would you go over to Russia? Why the hell would you go over to Russia? Do we need to clear up the chat? I feel we need to clear up the chat. I feel this is a bit interesting. Go to doctor. Your next response is going to be the evidence of persecution of Christians in Ukraine. Anything you send as your next response, apart from the evidence of persecution in Christians in Ukraine, is going to get you timed out for 10 minutes. Bardak, you same shit, but you gotta send me evidence of actual prisoners of war being on that plane. That's that. I'm not even gonna do like the strike warnings. You're getting 10-minute timeouts, then you get banned if your next message is not evidence. That's that. I think you don't really know when it's a bot and when it's a stupid person, though. For me, it's like that. You don't really know what it is. You don't know if you're speaking to a bot or if you're speaking to a stupid person, right? Because a bot implies it's unable to respond to your actual claims. While a stupid person is so unable to respond to your actual claims, just unwilling to respond to them. So I feel that matters. I feel the distinction matters. That's fine with me. This piece of shit goes. Holy shit, what? Some Russian agents wear Christian priest uniforms. Hey, which country was it? Fuck, I say the news.
If Russia did take over Ukraine, would it give you any pause?
Which country was it?
I don't have a problem.
That,
I really don't.
is stopping funding.
I have a problem with Ukraine. They're corrupt. I think that people are just ridiculous that they think that Putin's such this enemy. He isn't doing anything. He just wants back what was his.
But he invaded. He invaded.
What was his?
He invaded Ukraine,
That's fine.
killing thousands of people.
That's fine. That's fine with me.
As a veteran yourself, does it concern you at all that Russian aggression could move even beyond Ukraine?
I don't think Putin's a problem. I think Zelensky's the problem.
Why do you think Putin's not the problem? He's the one that invaded Ukraine and has killed thousands of people.
Because Putin is trying to save his country from the likes of idiots like Zelensky and the elitists.
You know, this administration is trying to...
You know that clip with that dude who says democracy is the power of the people, but the people are retarded? Feeling that. I'm feeling that. Oh, what is that? Pavel Mercedes? Interesting situation, goat doctor. It seems you did not give me the evidence I asked for. In 10 minutes you will return with the evidence or you will be banned. Putin isn't an elitist? No. No chance, no chance. Democracy, yeah. We got it. It needed to be a sound. We needed to add it. Holy shit, the hell. He was guarded by what? A Pasha Mercedes. What the hell? Do you have hope smart people will vote in large numbers? I think there's a lot of neutrals in the country. Not necessarily smart. But I think there's a lot of neutrals in the country, and I think their votes are going to prevail. And I do hope that they will vote in large numbers. You just never can really trust them too much, right? But I do hope that they will vote in large numbers, and I do hope that we're going to see Biden winning, definitely. Neutrals or neutered? I mean, is there a difference considering the fact that a lot of them are apolitical? Is there a difference? Like if you're staying out of it and you're allowing a country to be choosing between, you know, two people, one of which is a man who openly wants to become a dictator, and you're not voting? Yeah. What did he do? Glorification of participants in the armed aggression of the Russian Federation against Ukraine. Oi. He complained in court that there was no light or heat in the house, and that the house is cute. In Mercedes we trust. Oh man. Oh, and then he has more houses. Oh, my man's doing fine. That's a rich boy, a rich man complaining about being in his rich house. Which cars are on? I wanted to see the oldest news to see like the comments that he made. Understandable why so many Americans don't vote for president. Oh, Bardak. Oh, look, your response too. You also did not send me the evidence I'm asking for. In 10 minutes, you will return with the evidence or you will get banned. Your vote doesn't mean anything if your state is in deep red or blue, like California or Mississippi. Also, like everyone else is going to vote red, so I don't need to vote. But isn't that how British got Brexit? Because I think that's how British got Brexit, you know? It was like, oh, not enough lunatics are gonna be voting for Brexit. I don't need to go vote against it. There's gonna be enough people voting against it. And then they got Brexit. So it seems... Do we drive? Yes, we drive cars. I have a Mercedes. This is not a luxury, but a means of transportation. If they produced a good car of ours, I would drive it. Oh. Whoa, nice. Oh, in 2013... he approved all actions of the police during Euromaidan, and he mockingly asked how much students are paid for going out to protest. He compared Yanukovych to Jesus Christ and assured him of his support. What? He declared Crimea was never Ukrainian. He called Ukraine the aggressor in the war in Donbass. He declared the need for unity with Russia. He said Ukrainians are reaping the benefits because they did not hear warnings. What the hell? Oh man, what the hell? Alright, holy shit. That was not necessary. Not sure if good steaks. Oh, what are graphics? I saw it in my recommended just previously. When SB was coming in Lavra, they found not in proper clothes a teenage boy.
The most stunning moment yet in
yeah,
the
for
war.
some reason,
traditional
values people seem to be
settled
really
into a
into
stalemate suddenly roared to life. In early September of 2022, Ukrainian forces operating around Kharkiv Oblast managed to launch a surprise attack that shattered Russian lines. Using speedy four-wheeled vehicles, the Ukrainians were able to run riot behind Moscow's undermanned defenses. Overwhelmed, the Russian side collapsed into a panicked flight. What followed was the fastest territorial change since the opening days of the war. In less than a week, Ukrainian forces liberated over 8,000 square kilometers, and while Russian lines would eventually stabilize not far outside of Kupiansk, the political impact was absolutely enormous. It was thanks to this shock Ukrainian victory that Vladimir Putin was forced to order his unpopular partial mobilization.
They got unlucky with the government, though. Look at that. What do you think about Russia? They got unlucky with the government. As if the government was like pushed onto them somehow. Oh, they got unlucky. They got unlucky.
At such speed
they chose
or scale,
to be
at least until
them.
now. As we write this, on February the 28th, it looks like the conditions might all be in place for another Kharkiv-style victory. Only this time, it's not Russian lines that look brittle and ready to snap, but Ukrainian ones. Since Avdiivka fell on February the 17th, Russian forces have been pushing ahead, grinding across the landscape as Ukrainian troops fall back, probing for weaknesses. Outside Avdiivka, the settlements of Lastokinya and Shvern have already been overrun. Up at Bakhmut, long-held Ukrainian positions near Khasiv Yar and Bodanivka now fly the Russian flag. On the eastern bank of the Dnipro River, a Ukrainian bridgehead established in autumn seems to be on the verge of collapse. Even areas liberated during Kiev's disappointing summer counteroffensive are now at risk. Posting on X, security analyst Jimmy Rushton described interviewing a defender at Robertine who told him, quote, the Russians are advancing 250 to 500 meters per day.
I feel you could just like put in 10 German words, one after another, and it would still be a German word, you know what I mean? Advancing around 250 to 500 meters. They're hitting us with everything. Artillery, FPV, drones, aviation, glide bombs, helicopters. They use ATVs to advance quickly, copying our tactics from the counter-offensive. Fighting much smarter, have advantage in numbers and firepower. Fuck 'em.
They're hitting us with everything: artillery, FPV drones, aviation glide bombs, and helicopters. They use ATVs to advance quickly, copying our tactics from the counteroffensive. They're fighting much smarter, and they have the advantage in numbers and firepower. To be clear, these advantages are not localized. Up near Kharkiv, Ukrainian commanders report that artillery ammunition has nearly run out. Air defense is stretched so thin that Moscow is able to gain occasional limited air superiority in some sectors. In terms of manpower too, Ukraine is disadvantaged. Not only are their lines undermanned, but they also can't compete with the Russians in terms of reserves. As analyst Emil Kastahelmi posted on X, while Ukraine was on the offensive in 2023, Russia silently amassed significant forces. For its part, British think tank RUSI estimates that Moscow's military hit
there's this application. I used to download applications to like teach me vocabulary, and there was one of them, and it was teaching you like prefixes and suffixes, right, for words. So you would be given a prefix and then you would have to guess what it means, stuff like that. And then they show you like a bunch of words with this prefix and you have to figure out what the word means, because now you understand the prefix, so you can understand what it means in combination with the actual word. And yeah, they very often would be like jumbling them together. It would be like 3 prefixes in a word and you're able to understand the name of some obscure medical condition because like you're just reading and you know what it is, right? Because once you learn the terms, it's understandable to you. So yeah, I guess English actually does do it the same way as German does. You're just adding words on top of words. But yeah, true.
55% of its recruitment target last year, a far higher percentage than anyone anticipated. That translates to tens of thousands of men who can be called upon to exploit any serious breach in Ukrainian lines. To quote Kastahelmi again, Russia has likely calculated that the offensive can continue for many weeks or months, and if more significant progress is achieved somewhere, they're prepared to support it. Now, none of this is to say that the Russians will definitely achieve a major breakthrough. Although they appear to be on a roll west of Avdiivka, the Ukrainians do have more defendable terrain that they can fall back to. The Institute for the Study of War highlights water features further west of Avdiivka, particularly the body of water that runs between Berichi, Semenevik, and Olivka. Likewise, we need to remember that launching these attacks carries its own costs. Attackers nearly always suffer higher casualties than defenders, and Moscow in particular treats its men like an expendable resource. Around Avdiivka alone, it's estimated that Russia sustained thousands of casualties. Pro-war mill blogger Andrei Morozov on Telegram put the number at 16,000.
Did we talk about Morozov? Because I saved Morozov. I saved the story on Morozov to show you on stream 3 times. I'm pretty sure we skipped over it 3 times, which I'm not angry about because it's a Russian, so... But also, did we talk about Morozov? Because Morozov posted that they lost 16,000 people when they were trying to go get Avdiivka. And then a bunch of other Russians were pissed off that he posted this because supposedly it was the official Russian source. But other mill bloggers were not posting this information. They posted just like, we suffered some losses, but we got the city. We suffered some losses, right? But he was the one who actually posted the numbers of losses. And then he shot himself. And he died. He made a little suicide note and then he shot himself and he died. Another 100k Yakutians stormed the trench, go, go, go. Yeah, true. And then it's like Buryatians and then it's Nepali fighters, yeah. And then, you know, then we count the number of Russians lost. Hey, supposed to be evidence of persecution of Christians, by the way. Do you want to look into it? The American Conservative, great. The American Conservative, we started with a great source. Incredible. But yeah, let's see. UOC opposed the invasion, supported the Ukrainian cause. Why is the government calling them Russian agents? What do you think? Who leads them? What do you think, my dude? Where are we seeing? Oh, Zelensky. Ukraine also church all Christians. No, they're purposefully doing this. Ukraine is persecuting Christians, and then they show you the situation in which a country, which by the way the biggest religion is Orthodox Christianity, one of the churches of Orthodox Christianity is being put under control because it is directly under the rulership of Moscow. And they pretend like this is an attack on the religion itself, because they don't know different churches of Orthodox Christianity exist. No, it's not tough to find unbiased sources, it's just tough to find a source stupid enough to repeat Russian propaganda. That's why it's tough to you to find a story on this. It's because you have to go and you have to Google, oh, Christianity in Ukraine, and then you're finding sources that don't support your claim, and then you have to go to trash. You have to go there to like rivers of diarrhea to find one source that doesn't sound like Eurasia to actually send it to me. I know how this shit works. Obscenely insulted Orthodox priest. Oh, it mocks the church and refers to its clergy as Russian agents. The target of all these attacks is the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, which used to be in unity with the Moscow Patriarchate. But has had an independent autonomous status for more than 30 years, which, by the way, they do have their own. They do have their own church. I don't know if you know, but they do have their own church. What do you do here? I'm chilling. I'm going through the news. And I'm chilling, basically. Religious situation in modern Ukraine is complicated. Oh, let's see. The country has been considered Orthodox since 988, when the bishops of Constantinople baptized this island. Under USSR, Orthodox Church in Kiev was almost destroyed. It was resurrected after the fall of the Soviet regime. In 1990, Russian Church granted full administrative independence to its Ukrainian bishops under the name of the Ukrainian Orthodox Church. Although many call it the Moscow Patriarchate, it's a completely independent structure in terms of governance. Sure. Ukrainian Orthodox Church elects its primate and bishops on its own with no regard for Moscow. There is no Moscow Patriarchate in the official name. Well, that's interesting. Well, that's an interesting little thing. Emergence of independent Ukraine. Like, no official name. And the activation of Ukrainian nationalism plunged the Orthodox environment into turmoil. Ooh. Filaret, a ruling bishop of the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, broke away from the church with the help of the new Ukrainian authorities and founded a new church structure, which he called the Ukrainian Orthodox Church of the Kiev Patriarchate. Several other priests founded another structure, the Ukrainian Autocephalous Orthodox Church. Even here, though, you can see that they acknowledge the existence of different church, and still you're trying to present this as Ukraine fighting against Christianity itself. That's kind of interesting to me. Like, did you even like the article? Are you aware that this is not about persecution of Christianity? But specifically, we are talking about trying to control a specific church? Like, are you aware of that? Because the article itself that you sent, it does point out the difference in this. Ukraine is not prosecuting Christians. This is about a Christian church, an Orthodox Christian church. Orthodox Christianity has different churches. Oh yeah. I have nothing against hot pool streams though, so if you wanna be complaining about that, GG. No, it's not the persecution of Christians. Persecution of Christians would mean that Christians as a group are being persecuted. The largest religion in Ukraine is Orthodox Christianity. They're not being persecuted. We're talking about a specific church. One specific Orthodox Christian church. You are aware they have different institutions within Orthodox Christianity, right? We're talking about priests connected to one specific church. When you say persecution of Christians, you're implying that this is persecution based on religion alone, which is not true. Plus, you're claiming this is persecution of like random ass civilians based on religion alone, which is also not true. We're talking very specifically about priests connected to a specific church. Right? One specific institution, not religion. institution. Destiny Finkelstein debate. Oh yeah, same here. Same here. I'm very interested in how it's gonna go. I'm waiting for the VOD. I don't know if it was done on Kick already, but I didn't really feel like watching it live. I kind of want to watch the VOD only. By the same logic, Russia is persecuting Christians, not in the government-controlled church. Yeah, I mean, basically, but Russia is persecuting... That's actually a good point. You want to talk about persecution of religious people? Talk about what Russia is doing to Crimean Tatars. Talk about what Russia is doing to Crimean Tatars, talk about what Russia is doing to Chechens, talk about what Russia is doing to Buryats, talk about what Russia is doing to Muslims. Talk about that. No, I'm not allowing you to switch the topic. Are you aware you were lying when you said Ukraine is persecuting Christians? Are you aware what was the problem with your statement? Are you aware your statement was false? And when we talk about persecutions, we're only and solely talking about priests connected to one specific institution, not about Ukraine persecuting Christians. Like, do you understand what is the difference between what you said was true and what is actually true? No, the flock was definitely involved. But when it comes to people actually not true, what is not true, point it out to me. When it comes to people who are actually prosecuted, kicked out of public space, we can talk about the priests, right? The followers, as they were involved, definitely. I'm not saying they weren't involved. We did see interviews. I don't know if you remember, there was an interview with a bunch of believers in front of a church. And there were people who were like praying that Russia and Ukraine get together again as brotherly nations. Oh, this is just like one thing that the world has turned us against us. But we actually are still brothers and we will be friends again. We pray for that, shit like that. I am aware that the flock was also stupid. And I'm definitely not saying that they wouldn't be playing against Ukraine. But it is not true that they were persecuted. So that also is like I feel we gotta keep the wording very careful on this, because it gets abused by people, the likes of people who read conservative news very often. Go to doctor, you will explain to me what is not true in my distinction between you claiming that Ukraine is prosecuting Christians and the reality in which we are talking only and specifically about some priests connected to a very specific Orthodox Christian institution. If your message is not a response to this, you will get banned. You're not switching the stupid topic. You're not doing this. You're not switching it to what's okay to be prayed about. You're not switching it. You will focus on your own words and what you were wrong about. And if you refuse to focus on it, we're going to kick you out of the stream because this is a waste of time. Multimillionaire Petro Poroshenko went to Istanbul, requested a legalization document for the unrecognized Ukrainian churches. Pressure was put on the UOC so that it would join these breakaway structures. The reason for Poroshenko's activity was simple. He was preparing for the presidential elections of 2019 and his program was anchored in 3 words: army, language, faith. Bardak, you're getting banned because you were specifically asked for evidence of prisoners of war being on that plane. You did not provide the evidence of prisoners of war being on that plane. I don't need you around anymore. Okay, UOC was called Moscow Church, OCU the Ukrainian, although there are only Ukrainians in both denominations. Authorities arranged transitions of church communities from the UOC to the OCU. Everyone was allowed to these transition meetings, despite the fact that according to the law, only members of the Orthodox parish are allowed to vote. The news in 2019 was full of photos and videos where church doors were broken open with a crowbar or cut off with an angle grinder. Oh, United States! Oh, nice. State Department. Oh, is Nuland gonna be here? State Department and politicians carried out work to promote the new church. 2 months before the creation of the OCU, Philaret and Epiphany met in the United States with Joe Biden, who declared his gratitude for their work. State Department Ambassador for Religious Freedom, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, and Special Representative for Ukraine Ambassador declared their support for the project. Immediately after its creation, OCU received its first official congratulations from the State Department and the US Embassy. More embassy. Oh, policy almost failed when Zelensky became president. Oh. He immediately stated he did not intend to interfere in the affairs of churches. During the campaign, he ridiculed Poroshenko's church trump cards at the pre-election debate and comically pretended to mix up the Thomas for the OCU with a thermos. Rebel soldier told me they have an order to kill all the Christian pastors who are not part of the Russian Orthodox Church. Great. A pastor from Luhansk. Great. Great. Lovely. Where the hell did... Nice. Amazing. Amazing. Let me... Oh, shit. Wait. Oh, damn. That's a good source, my dude. That's a good source. Shit. I have a similar one. Oh shit, wait, I have a really good, really good source on your mom getting fucked by Thompson. The fuck is that? My man's giving me a stupid ass quote. Seemed that the siege of OUC churches was at an end. The church conflict in Ukraine was frozen, fragile balance was established. However, Russian invasion of Ukraine, alongside the support for that invasion by the leadership of the Russian Church in Moscow, changed everything. Seizures of UOC churches resumed, carried out by the forces of radicals without the participation of the central government. This was only the calm before the storm. Oh. Zelensky and Ukrainian officials emphasized that the UOC is a Ukrainian denomination that completely took the side of its people. Took a U-turn at the end of 2022. Central authorities brought down repressions on the UOC. In comparison, Poroshenko's method seemed like child play. Damn, after the invasion, interesting. Dobson commands to say nice things about someone's mom. That's too. Quartal, if we put protesters in wool clothes and give Berkut a bonnet sticks, can we make electrics with it? Oh shit. Yeah, I mean having comedians who do like political comedy jokes is always going to be a little bit interesting, especially the way I understand that Zelensky was a neutral before the invasion started, so I feel he was like ha ha ha, I'm making fun of people on both sides. Which resulted in some interesting things. Raiding churches and postponing elections absolutely is not something only a dictator would do when we're talking about a country currently going through an active war. A country trying to survive an actual invasion on its soil. No. We're not talking about something only a dictator would do, but also we're not talking about a country that is persecuting Christians, which was your first initial claim. We're still on that. You're not switching the topic, my dude. Oh, wait, I love this. Cathedrals monasteries were searched by Ukrainian SBU officers who reported that they allegedly found evidence of collaboration between bishops and priests of the UOC and the enemy. These findings were often ridiculous. Security officials exhibited photos of children's Bibles, prayer books, old liturgical photos, archival collections of newspapers and magazines featuring the word Russian, and Christmas or Easter sermons of the Russian Church Patriarch. In cases there was nothing to find, the special services planted compromising evidence themselves. Ah, nice. They planted enemy leaflets while the pastor was busy purchasing cars for the Ukrainian army with money raised by his community. I received a call from the headman who said that he was not allowed into the temple. People from the SBU examined the church, called the headman, led him to the closet, where they took out 2 packs of leaflets, which they had put there on their own because there could not be postcards of such content in our church. Oh, yeah, we have like 5 different commands. I don't know the names of them, but they're written down in the under the stream. If you scroll down. True details of these searches are practically unknown to Ukrainians. It is widely reported in all media that the special services find much evidence of collaboration with the enemy in UOC churches. We're not talking about the elections. We're still focusing on your claim of Ukraine persecuting Christians. Are you aware Orthodox Christianity is the biggest religion of Ukraine? Are you aware it is not Orthodox Christians or Christians overall who are being persecuted? We're talking specifically about one single establishment within Orthodox Christianity. If I have to ask you the same stupid question once, like you're getting banned, you're not switching the topic. I don't care for your predictions of how this war is going to end. I don't care for your little demands for voting. We're sticking to the topic that you yourself have brought up in the chat. Azerbaijan? Why? Is it because Armenia? Armenia recently, I have a video saved on this. Armenia has betrayed Russia. And so it seems that they're choosing to stick with the Frenchies. No, we're not agreeing to disagree. A country persecuting Christians means a very specific thing. A country persecuting Christians is a very specific claim, and a claim that does not equal to, hey, there's this one specific Christian institution within this country, and then people who belong to this one specific institution within this country are the ones being persecuted. This is not the same as the countries persecuting Christians. It is not the same thing at all. This is like if you persecute one Christian cult in USA, and then people are like, oh, USA is persecuting Christians. Oh, USA is forbidding Christianity. No, it's not. There's different organizations within these religions. To claim that the religion itself is being persecuted is vastly different from, hey, few priests from one specific institution are being investigated. Yeah, we're gonna look into this. We're gonna look into the UOC first. I wanted to look into the American Conservative article. I think it's close to the end. And then we're gonna look into the UOC. Holy shit, I always mix up these. Tucker Carlson, great. Great. They're quoting Tucker Carlson. Lovely. Carlson is absolutely right. Lovely. The situation is absurd because UOC is doing everything to help its people in this unjust war. Church renders great assistance to the army, internally displaced persons, and the needy. Assistance to the army has reached nearly $1 million, and 180 tons of humanitarian aid has been delivered from the armed forces of Ukraine. Impressive, given that people in Ukraine are not at all rich, and their donations to temples are very scarce. In addition, at the UOC's main council in May 2022, it adopted a number of decisions to break off canonical spiritual ties with the ROC, which was actually a proper decisions when it comes to that. Seems Zelensky set to completely outlaw and destroy the Ukrainian Orthodox Church. On January 20th, a bill on this de facto ban was submitted to Parliament. The initiator of this law was no ordinary parliamentarian, but the Prime Minister. Marks a return to a shameful era when a state in the center of Europe intends to crack down on the religion of its own people. See, even here, they lie to you about it being a crackdown on religion. religion, Orthodox Christianity being the biggest religion in Ukraine. This isn't a crackdown on religion. We're talking about specific institution. This isn't a crackdown on religion. That makes no sense. If he was banning all Orthodox Christian churches, it would be a different thing. That is not what he is doing, is it? Not if your church is linked to Russia. If there's links of your church to Russia itself, no. You should not be allowed to have it functioning in a state currently invaded by Russia. If there's any piece of evidence or any sort of a threat that the church is going to be cooperating with an invader attempting to genocide your people, the church in question itself should be smart enough to disband and stop their activities until it is known whether or not some of their priests are cooperating with the invaders. Stai, Damiano, come preaches. And I go through, I fucking knew it. Fair. Fair. Elections happened already in 1991. All regions chose independent Ukraine. That too. I wanna see the news. But I'm so far from the monitor at this point. I have a humongous PC desk. I'll have to show it to you. It's hard. Oh man, it's so huge. Oh, dude. I do believe that some Israeli officials are spreading around genocidal rhetoric. Absolutely. I do believe that one of the intentions of Israelis is to genocide Palestinians in Gaza right now. Yes, I do believe this should be thoroughly investigated, and I do believe that measures should be taken in order to ensure that civilians in Gaza are able to get enough aid and able to not starve to death. Definitely. It is not wild to say that Putin wants to genocide Ukraine when the country would have been destroyed by now, because that's bullshit. He did try to destroy the country by now. He failed. The fact that Ukrainians were fighting strong enough to hold off Russians doesn't mean that Russians didn't want to commit genocide. That is making no sense at all to say. Like, oh yeah, if he wanted to do a genocide, why didn't he? Bullshit little claim when so many Ukrainians have fought so strongly to manage to fight off Russians. The reason why Ukraine is not destroyed by now is because Ukraine fought against it. Wait, I wanted to find, a step closer, new news, 2023. Now we got 2023. Oh, voting to ban, this was mentioned in the article. ICC already charged Putin, Maria Lvova, Belova. Yeah, that too. And also, European Parliament said Putin is personally responsible for killing Navalny. Like personally, him specifically, not Russia, not the Russian leadership, Putin specifically, which I thought was an interesting claim to make. I support making claims against the man, even though Ukrainian parliament votes to ban Orthodox Church of alleged links with Russia. Oh, alleged, they say. No, they don't have. Even now, they don't have air superiority, even now when Ukrainian defenses are holding off. Yeah, basically holding on would be a good way to say it, right? The current situation is not really good. But no, it is not true that Russia has war superiority, and also it is not true that any Ukrainian city could be wiped out in any moment, because if it could be wiped out, it would be wiped out. Deputies had voted to support the bill in the first reading. It has to be backed in a second reading and then it has to be approved by the president. The law would ban the activities of religious organizations affiliated with centers of influence in a state that carries out armed aggression against Ukraine, and such activities could be terminated by a court of law. I mean, to be fair, it sounds like a good law to write, right? UOC said the draft law, one of several similar bills registered in Parliament, did not comply with the European Convention on Human Rights or Ukraine's constitution. Oh. The bill that says that religious organizations affiliated with centers of influence in a state that carries out armed aggression against Ukraine could be terminated. Really? Really? Like they're being like, oh yeah, we're not affiliated with Moscow, but this law specifically saying that religious organizations affiliated with Moscow could be terminated. This law is like very dangerous to us, but we're not anymore affiliated with Moscow. We have nothing to do with Moscow. Government Commission ruled that UOC is still canonically linked to Russia despite the church declaring it cut ties with Russian Orthodox Church in May 2022. Church's second most senior priest has been notified he is suspected of inciting interreligious hatred and distributing materials justifying Russian aggression. He has denied the accusations. Ukraine Security Service said 68 criminal cases, including accusations of treason, have been initiated against UOC representatives since Russia's invasion last year. Ban on UOC was unlikely to halt its activities and could be challenged in Ukraine and the European Court of Human Rights. Church could register as a new entity with no reference whatsoever to canonical ties with Russia. Oh yeah, I guess. I mean, just do that. Just do that. I feel they could just do that. I feel that would be relatively easy. Ooh. Twin. As expected. I hope his reading comprehension improves in the future. It's sad he brags about reading so much when he's apparently only capable of thinking in single quotes. We must have spent 2 hours of this convo wasted with Norm trying to cite Benny's own quotes from his own books at him, constantly misunderstanding the context of what he was even saying and acting smugly about it the entire time. Hey, this was... Oh shit, this is gonna be everything I hoped for in this debate. There's... You know how there was this illusion of Russia being a superpower? And it got crushed with Russia actually engaging in a war, right? Which doesn't necessarily mean Ukraine itself is a superpower, right? It just means Russia is not. I feel there's a similar thing going on with people we considered great thinkers, where they will say shit that is incredibly stupid, but people are very surprised to hear you questioning them, because this idea of a person being a great thinker or a philosopher or whatever is so ingrained in society and their names are so well known that, you know, we just, like, we see the name of who's saying something and we immediately pretend it has value. I think this was already interesting back when conversations about multipolarity were happening. Like, you remember how many people, for example, tried to point out that Dugin is a stupid little man, and how many responses you would get being like, one of the greatest Russian philosophers? You think he's stupid? Like, a philosopher? You dare to question the words of a philosopher? When in reality, personally, I discriminate against philosophers quite a lot. But yeah, I do think a lot of them are pretending to be smart based on reputation alone, but they really have nothing interesting to say. And it would be interesting to see something like that pointed out. Now, again, Destiny does get really, really angry, so maybe he's just talking shit. It's his Twitter. You never want to trust Destiny's Twitter posts. But I'm looking forward to seeing if we manage to kick down a great thinker of this age, because I really enjoy watching it. I enjoy seeing Dugin come from like, oh, the brain of Putin's world building, and seeing him crumble down to that stupid little Santa from Russia. I enjoy watching that. We give them value just because they're thinking a lot, and then it turns out that they're thinking bullshit. It's just that no one was really brave enough to go and point it out to them. It's basically like what Jordan Peterson did to himself. If you remember how everyone was like, oh yeah, he's a psychologist, he's kinda, intelligent, isn't he? Maybe he actually has some proper claims to make. And then he was trying to talk about Ukraine, and he made the dumbest fucking video I've ever seen, with like making mistakes in geographical positions. He literally could have looked at an atlas before doing that video, and he would have known. He didn't. He sat on a chair and he just said a bunch of things that he read on Twitter, didn't even bother looking them up. He said a bunch of things he read on Twitter, and that was that. He thought I was smart enough. You saw him crumble from a man that people saw as an actual like educated person, given his opinions on important things, to a little imbecile. And I'm kind of hoping that most of our great thinkers are going to crumble like that. Isn't questioning philosophers the cornerstone of philosophy? I think it depends on what philosophers value and what the people value. Because I think that when it comes to the people, if they see a philosopher, they want someone to be leading them because they're smart. So they see a philosopher they agree with, and they just kind of stick to that, and they give value to the name, right? I think in people's minds, questioning philosophers is not important or encouraged at all. When it comes to great thinkers themselves, I could see that, and I do think for them it's definitely more important to analyze the thoughts of other people and to analyze their perceptions. But when it comes to little people on the ground, I don't think they are really well versed in this. And I think that these philosophers then doing debates with like random ass fucking streamers, I think it's really useful to kind of just crush the perception. Really one of the best Russian philosophers, keyword Russian philosophers. Like, you remember when the blonde woman from USA, when she was like, oh yeah, Dugin is so smart, like I was actually so surprised, he's such a smart man and his world building is like impeccable and his views on multipolarity are amazing. And then you look at Dugin and Dugin's like, yeah, there was war in Africa, and then West supported this side, so we supported the other side because we were like, West should not be powerful, West should not be allowed to have that much power. Yes, this is very, very smart of us. Very smart decision by Russia. Always do exactly the opposite of what USA doing. That was like the extent. Now, whether or not, I know there's different analysis of multiparity as the idea. Whether or not you agree with the idea that there must always be someone opposing USA is one thing, but like to call this in any sort of a way so profound that it surprises you, it's ridiculous. It's just a stupid ass, very simple way to look at the world. There's nothing here that should make you go, wow. No, nothing, genuinely. Navalny, not yet. Epic rap battle for Russian political figures. Wait, you're talking about the one where Putin is at the end with "Duh, you want to mess with me?" I like it for the reason I feel it's really good at showing us stereotypes of these leaders, but also I kind of like. I've been kind of pointing out this to people for a very long time. The fact that for such a long time we were aware of what Putin was and we just kind of allowed it. We just knew, even in that rap battle, he makes jokes about it. We just fucking knew. You know, we knew he was executing opposition and we knew he was a dictator and we knew he's gonna be starting wars and we were like, yeah, okay. All right. It's like, unironically, but that video of those stupid-ass Americans being like, oh, Putin invaded the country and killed thousands of people? Yeah, that's all right by me. We were that. We were that. That's what we were. We were like, yeah, all right. He killed thousands of people in Grozny? Yeah, all right. Give us some gas, Putin. We're gonna forget it. Oh, you killed a bunch of people in Georgia? Oh, fine. GG. No problem. Oh yeah, when I say we, I mean mostly our countries. I think individually we always had people who were opposing it. But let's be real, our countries were not doing that. And because I'm a big believer in collective responsibility, I do feel, I do feel we also fucked it up. Haven't figured out what side I'm on yet. I feel it's very simple to figure out which side you're on yet when it comes to one country invading the other. I feel that shouldn't be questionable. There's nothing complex in this. One country is invading the other country. You're dealing with one country doing an aggression and the other country attempting to defend itself from a foreign aggression. This isn't complex. Unfortunately, he died naturally. This happens. Oh yeah, Budanov. Why? Why did he say that? Is there a reason he said that? Why did he say that? I have a theory on why he said it. But I don't know if I'm seeing it as very likely. Somebody asked that fair. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Someone asked and he had an answer. No, I mostly wonder about... I was wondering about it in a different sort of a way. Sorry, my charger is really annoying. Like, why say that he died of natural causes and not say that Putin killed him? Why say he died of natural causes and not be like, oh yeah, he was killed by Russian leadership for being opposition to the regime? And I feel like there is an answer to this, but I don't know if it's true. But I think it's because putting more attention to Russian opposition is a waste of time. Putting more attention to Russian opposition is useless. So the way I'm feeling about this is what he's doing is he's being like, guys, let's just stop having these stupid conversations. Let's just stop. It's a waste of time. All of this. Navalny team prancing around, his funeral supposedly being the start of protests in Russia. Even, when he died and people are like, oh, are Russians finally going to overthrow Putin? It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of effort. It's a waste of just very useful influence that could be used to help support Ukraine more, but we are wasting it on pretending like Russian opposition matters in any sort of a way. It's a waste. So yeah, they say he died of natural causes. We're gonna be like, yeah, he died of a blood clot, and that's that. Even though if he did die of a blood clot, I still believe that the blood clot in question was a result of months and months and months of torturing that he went through. But still. Just being a doomer. You're all doomers. You're all doomers. We're all doomers. That's why we exist together in this space, isn't it? Yulia Navalnaya. I think Russian opposition is useless. I don't have anything particular against Yulia Navalnaya. I do think she is, out of Navalny team itself, I think she might be the most honest person. Like, I think she genuinely is opposition. But I do not think Russian opposition matters to any sort of a way. And I think that them taking away attention from Ukrainian cause is extremely harmful. I think that when we have conversations in European Parliament and it's supposedly a conversation on the Russian invasion on Ukraine and then it turns to Navalnaya, I think it's a waste of a conversation. I think it's a waste of time, it's a waste of space, it's a waste of resources. I do not believe Russia has enough people who want to oppose Putin, and as such I do not believe that we're really doing anything by putting more attention to Navalnaya. In the same way that, giving more attention to Tsikhanouskaya is a waste of time. As long as she herself... There has been some reports that she herself is planning something in Belarus, though. So, you know, if you're not doomy gloomy over this, if you got some positivity in you, hope it's true, right? But just giving attention to opposition figures is worthless if you're not actually doing something to change the situation in the country. And again, it's not like we can go into Moscow and force them to have proper elections. So we can't really do anything. We have no plan to do anything. We have no system to do anything. Having conversations over this is worthless. It would be like, you know how much attention we give to like defectors from North Korea? But like we're doing nothing to change the situation. We're doing nothing to actually help the people there. We're just giving them media space, and then that's that. Not really doing too much. And even in that situation, I feel that's less bad than what's going on right now with trying to jumble the Russian supposed opposition situation with an actual invasion of Ukraine. Another word must be introduced at the UN level. Oh, so it's not called opposition? Yeah, it's a cosplay of the opposition, really. It's a cosplay of the opposition. And again, Navalnaya, I feel, is the most honest one. Navalnaya, I feel, genuinely does want to change. And I do feel like genuinely she did have a strong relationship with Navalny. It's just that when you look at the rest of his team, they're worthless. I don't know, I wouldn't waste time on them. War in northern Israel? Oh, Hezbollah is the size of an actual army. They have North Korean duck tunnels over Lebanon. They have a naval force, a small air force, and around 50k to 100k soldiers. But I don't feel like anyone would be brave enough to go and attack. Oh yeah, no, if invasion of Lebanon happens, that's for sure you're gonna get condemned. But I don't feel that, I don't feel Lebanon presents you, Hezbollah presents you any danger, really. She's a woman? That all makes her irrelevant. Okay, I'm not sure how that works. But I do feel like that, you know, her being an opposition member makes her irrelevant in Russian politics. Because they don't really, like on the state of a nation, I don't see opposition, right? I feel even if she was a dude, if she was like Hunter Biden and she had a humongous cock, I still feel it wouldn't matter because they don't want opposition. They want the current trash that they have in society. The best opposition they really can have is like, you know, a person like Nadezhdin, who's okay with Russians keeping occupied areas, which means that we will never get justice for Mariupol and we will never know how many people were killed there. And we will never uncover mass graves that we know are being dug on occupied areas regularly. That's the best they can have for opposition. That's the best their opposition gets in popular support. There's no opposition in Russia. There's no people in the nation who want opposition. Her being a woman, I don't really feel it's as bad as her trying to present some sort of opposition while not being opposition. Zakharova? or that maybe. Zakharova would be fucking ridiculous though. It would be like having Lavrov. I feel they should form a dream team. Give them Zakharova, give them Lavrov, give them Peskov, or give them Kartapolov to do some military analysis. Yeah, I feel that would be really, really smart. One Russian woman who had an influence in Russian politics? Catherine the Great, yeah. Basically. Drink team. Zakharova might start a new vodka brand though. Zakharova's gonna start a new vodka brand. It's gonna be like Nord Stream, but it's gonna be vodka stream, and we're gonna be just getting vodka delivered straight to our houses. woman with influence in Russian politics, Belova. I want to talk about, because I feel she's quite influential, you know, because we're talking about a woman who stole a bunch of Ukrainian kids, went to Putin, got Putin to sign a law so she can adopt these kids faster. I mean, talking about, I feel that's quite influential. I feel that's quite influential. I got the president of this country to sign a whole law so you would be able to, you know, kidnap more children faster and more efficiently re-educate them. I feel that's quite helpful. Hamas shot 12,000 rockets since October 7th. Hezbollah has run 250k. Holy shit. Holy shit, yeah. Iran can give them chemical shit to put in those rockets. Also very worrisome. Also very worrisome, definitely. AI and its uses. Very concerned. Very concerned. I'm very concerned about that video maker thing. It reached a point, like I saw the video of Tucker Carlson saying that it was stupid of Putin to say that he's trying to do denazification of Ukraine, and I was like, damn, is this AI? Like I'm counting the fingers and everything. It's very worrisome, and it will reach a point, and I think it already has kind of reached it, where you can't really trust anything you see. You can't trust shit. You can't trust anything you see. You can't trust anything you hear. You don't really know if things online are believable at this point. Which, yeah, an interesting little situation unfolding. I do wonder how we're going to control it, because I don't really know what are the ways to control it. Yeah, they got the fingers properly. They're getting the fingers properly. They're getting the movements properly. I follow this one account, and they post on threads. Is it Sora? The AI video maker. And like every once in a while, they will post like 5 new videos. And they're getting better and better. Like you see the problems. The thing is, you see the problems with the videos. But also, you know what I've noticed? Like this Sora account, it posts like 5 videos, and then people in the comments are like, oh, I would have known this was AI. Oh, I would have known this was AI. I would have known, all right? I would have been aware. I see that, like, there's this one video of a diver, and he's, like, going towards a ship, and he's moving a bit weird. So then they're like, oh, yeah, he moves so weirdly. I would have known, right? But I saw one man, he's an artist. He's, like, an actual digital artist. He makes animations for proper shows. And he made he made a proper video, but he tagged it as AI. He was like, this is a new Sora video. And the video is amazing. It's some car, and it's like driving over this huge city, and then it switches to flying mode. It's really well detailed. And he posts this, and people are like, oh, I would have known this was AI. A real animator would never make this. I would have known this was AI. Yeah, a real animator wouldn't make the wheels move like that or some shit, right? And the real animator did make it. So I feel it's reaching the point where, like, I think we're getting a bit too confident with our ability to recognize AI. And yeah, mostly because we're seeing shit AI being shared. You don't know when it's good ones. When it's a good one, you don't even recognize it. Girl in my city tried to kill herself because people in her school made fake news of her. Oh, that's true. That, I feel it should be immediately covered under revenge porn laws. Immediately covered under revenge porn laws, and immediately put under control, definitely. Because, man, that's horrible. And we've only seen really reports on this when Taylor Swift got AI porn made of her, if you remember that. So when Taylor Swift had her images used for that, she managed to get it wiped out from Twitter. And the accounts, if I'm not wrong, the accounts got banned really quickly. But when it comes to smaller people, getting attention like this and getting this sort of influence is almost impossible. So, no, I feel like NATO's gonna be alright. I feel NATO's gonna be alright. I mean, I'm trying to be hoping on this. Russian civil war any time. Oh, hey, by the way, when's the funeral? It's like 2 p.m. or something. Huh? Where? Oh wait, we're getting updates already. Oh shit, I didn't know. Few hours? Yeah, I thought it was 2. I thought I'm at work when this is going to be happening. I don't know if I am, but I thought I'm going to be at work when this is happening, and that I'm going to be following from work. Sizable police, more police vans. Man. Mourners gathering near the church where Navalny memorial service will be held. More people gathering, list of mourners. Bro, if they had any balls, they could start a really good protest. Sakharov and Navalny, now they're both dead. Yeah, alright. Do something about it. US Embassy in Moscow. The fact that they have embassy, that is genuinely insulting. I loved him like a son. I loved him like a son. And now he's dead, and I'm gonna put flowers on his grave and then continue living under Putin. Amazing. Coffin being created. Hey, now 7 minutes. Yeah, no, definitely. Definitely. It's gonna be the funeral's gonna go on. They're gonna walk in the procession. They're gonna go home. It's such a fucking sad thing, my dude. Like, country with so many people and so many of them are just, out there doing nothing. Lukashenko, yeah, I saw the Belarus children camps. Like when Lukashenko had this fight with Putin a few years ago, when he claimed that Putin wants to take away the sovereignty of Belarus and he wants to make Belarus basically a part of Russia, I feel Putin succeeded really well at that. I feel Putin succeeded very well at that, and I feel personally any sort of sanction applied to Russia, I would apply it to Belarus too. Any sort of ban from a public events applies to Russia, I would directly apply it to Belarus too. Any sort of reparations that have to be paid after this war, I would apply it to both of them. I feel like I would just see Belarus as an extension of Russia, nothing else really. It's the same fucking trash. They allowed Russian troops to pass through. They hosted Wagner for a while. They're having camps with kidnapped children. Personally, fully honest, I would just see them as part of Russia. Now, who? Yeah, like with Prigozhin. Actually, I had a conversation with someone over this on Threads. And I was like, yeah, in a few months, like, people are just gonna forget about Navalny. I said few days, to be fair. I said they're gonna be remembering him for like a day. Like, funeral happens in a day after, and that's that. But I said they're gonna forget about him, just like they forgot about Prigozhin. And the person was like, oh yeah, shit, I forgot about Prigozhin already. Like, yes, you did. You forgot about a man who was a father figure to Wagner, a whole group of supposedly elite fighters. They were crying so much when he was exploded, and look at it now, no one even mentions his name. Grisha is going around sucking off Putin. Just nothing matters, really. Estonia, oh shit, 12 minutes, I have to go in about 5.
And stunningly beautiful single women.
Beautiful atheist women, though.
Of Estonia, it is a state
beautiful
located
atheist
in northeastern
women in your area.
Belonging to the Baltic region. It houses an approximate
Do you
population
really
of
have more
1.3
atheism?
million.
Wait, you do, right? We looked
Just
into this
expenses
once.
for a family. The rental market in Estonia can be considerably expensive, with larger apartments in the capital region costing up to 1,500 euros.
Too many Russians?
More affordable options, such as 45 square
Do
meter
the Latvia
apartments
thing,
a
ban
bit
them.
further from the city center,
Kick them
average
out.
around 400 to 500 euros. The monthly food expense
400
for a
to
single
Hey, I have
individual
no
in
idea
Estonia
either, to be honest.
ranges between 150
We did
and
updating of the
300
commands. I need to
euros,
look into
considering
them.
everything from meat to vegetables.
I don't know my own commands.
Additionally,
I know the. I don't
expenses
even know
like
the moderation ones.
electricity,
And I added
internet,
moderation
and
ones like 2
natural
months
gas
ago.
can
I have
amount
the
to
memory of
approximately
Russian.
130
I added moderation
euros.
ones around 2
For
months
those who
ago, so
enjoy
Vips
taking
could be
care
doing
of
the
their body,
banning.
the average monthly cost of a
Timing
well-equipped
out.
gym
So
can
Vips could
vary
be doing
from
the timing
40
out.
to 80 euros.
And I don't know what the commands are.
Transportation costs are the highest of all, costing residents of the country a mere amount of
Baltic
0
states?
euros. That's
I
right.
hope.
It's free. The transportation infrastructure is
I'm
favorable
trying
for
to
Estonian
arrange
citizens,
something.
with a network of
And
trams
basically,
connecting urban
both
centers
me
across
and
the
my
country,
boyfriend, we're
allowing
not
for
really
quick and efficient travel
summer
from one
people.
city to
We're not
another.
really summery beach
Employment
people or shit
opportunities
like
for
that.
individuals with
So I'm
skills
kind
in
of
computing
trying
and
to
software are numerous in Estonia. The country
create
has
a
a
situation
significant demand
where
for
we do
software
a bit of
developers,
more
as the
interesting
technology sector
traveling
is growing each day.
during my
Estonia
vacation,
is
and I would
internationally
love to go
recognized
over.
for its technological innovations and
Russia coming to
high-quality
liberate us
software.
now.
The country's internet
Because
infrastructure
we do
is
have some
considered the
relatives
most advanced
around,
worldwide,
and I
featuring
have a
fast speeds
family
and
friend,
free
let's say,
access in many
who lives in
places.
Sweden.
Free internet access is
So
even
we were
enshrined in the
hoping,
Constitution
I'm
as a
basically looking at a
citizenship
few
right,
different locations, and I'm
highlighting the
trying to figure out
importance the
where we
country
want to go
places on
and
digital
where it
connectivity.
pays off to do
With
some
a
traveling.
relatively small territorial extension, Estonia has an easier time
Oh.
maintaining a high-quality technological
What am
infrastructure.
I seeing that? What
With
am I
such
seeing that?
technological efficiency,
Fuck, wait, now I gotta click on that too. Hey, by the way, I wanted to say, no, was it Finland or Estonia? Which country has really, really good e-citizenship thing? Russian teachers forced to worship Bandera. Belarusian stockist continues to mock the servitude of Russian public servants. He sent them letters on behalf of the Historical Society with a demand to bow to the icons of Saints Svetlana and Stepan. They did do it, and they sent the pictures of doing it. One of the saints is Bandera. The other one is a Belarusian judge, Svetlana Znishko, who made a decision to recognize Bohan's Telegram channel as extremist. He called them defenders of the Kiev Sklavra, who fell at the hands of Kiev regime. Oh, I would love if the news about these two being fallen heroes of Alavra, if the news of this reached Western news. How funny would that be? Tucker Carlson being like, oh yeah, Saint Stepan. I hear Ukrainians killed him. I hear Ukrainians dumped him. Lukashenko, I heard about the Lukashenko camps. Yeah. I heard about Lukashenko camps, and I do feel that the entire country should basically be seen as extension of Russian nation itself. I do feel Belarus must be paid to pay reparations. Every time you hear something about Estonia, say that they destroyed USSR. Oh yeah, it's like immediately connection. Estonia, oh yeah, I see USSR burning in my mind. Yeah, I have to fix my commands. I did a thing where I like deleted all of them and then returned some. I switched to mix it up, to the mix it up bot. So I'm guessing I just didn't return all of the commands. That's probably what I did, to be honest. Would need to look off stream to find where the commands even are. I'm seeing like moderation ones. I'm seeing work ones. I'm seeing my work ones where I'm doing a work counter. Oh shit, that's a good one. I need to bring that one back. It was counting which day of work I'm at, so I know how many days I have left. It was like 200 at a time. No, 400 because like a year and something. But also I have to go. It's 12:29. My ride's gonna be here in approximately 15 minutes. So I'm going to get ready and I'm going to go to work. Listen, stream tomorrow, possibly same time as today. stream time tomorrow, possibly same time, so also in the morning before my work. Because yeah, I should be able to be here. I should not be driving. I'm still not 100% sure, but like I'm approximately. So yeah, stay strong, stay healthy. If you have some sources, send them to me. Send them to me. Give me what you have. And yeah, if the Destiny debate comes out, I'm gonna make sure to watch it, so I would know a little bit more about what's going on in Israel specifically, but also because I want to know how. I want to know how many things I don't know. I want to know how many things I'm dumb about when it comes to this. So basically, yeah, Clash of the Titans or whatever. I think it's yeah, thank you. So yeah, stay healthy. I'll be running off to my work. Send thoughts and prayers. Russian civil war. Oh, I'm gonna cover it. I promise. If it starts happening today, we're gonna be covering it for the whole stream tomorrow. If you have any news about the Russian civil war, also send it to me. If you have any videos of them doing protesting, you know, maybe there's gonna be like one person chunking a snowball at the police or something again. That already happened. 2 people chunking a snowball at the police, that would be way braver and also way harder to be seen. But if you have videos or something like that,